네, 안녕하십니까. 뷰티 트렌드 인사이트 2부와 3부
Hello, we will now begin
시작하겠습니다.
part 2 and part 3 of Beauty Trend Insight. My name is Kang Ji-hae. I'm an announcer. I will be the MC for this event. Thank you very much. It's a nice meet you. So 2022 Seoul Beauty Month is a kickoff event for the global beauty industry hub Seoul. And the first event for the Seoul Beauty Month is the 2022 Seoul Beauty Week, which kicked off yesterday. And this festival is the first of its kind. And therefore, it will become a driver to enhance growth in the beauty industry. We hope that Seoul will go beyond Asia to lead the growth of cosmetics industry in the world. Now, we will take time to have leading companies in this industry to share their know-hows and insights together with beauty startups and hidden champions. We saw a lot of enthusiasm in part 1 yesterday, and I also see the same level of enthusiasm today. I even see some people standing to listen to the conference. Now, digital and marketing is a topic of part 2, and We will be able to hear about digital branding and marketing cases of global beauty brands. And third, part 3, this theme is eco and ESG beauty, and we will be able to see cases of brands that are responding to eco-friendliness and ESG trends. These people are those who are actually working in the cosmetics field, so they will be able to give you the most up-to-date information. And they will also give you insights into seeking for solutions related to future issues.
We will now hear from the first speaker. We will hear from the Marketing and E-commerce Director of La Roche Posay from the L'Oréal Group, who will talk about the brand strategies and successful digital marketing of La Roche Posay. Please give her a big hand. Hello everyone. Hello everyone. As introduced, I am in charge of the brand strategies and marketing at La Roche Posay. It's a pleasure to meet you all. My name is EunGyung. Before I dive in the presentation, I would like to show you a brand video and then I will continue on with my presentation. Please turn your attention to the screen. As you saw from the brand video, La Roche Posay is a global brand recommended by over 90,000 dermatologists globally, and the brand is recommended by more than 400 dermatologists in Korea. As La Roche Posay can be found in drugstores, it is science-based, and we do our best to produce and manufacture safe products and very effective products. I will be focusing on the digital marketing, so I will focus on e-commerce channels. This is from Statistics Office of Korea. If you look at the green line, you can see the overall growth, and at the bottom, the blue shade shows you the growth of the consumer base. Well, La Roche Posay is sold in drugstores and clinics. So as you can see here, in 2015, the brand was launched on our official online store. And then, well, in 2015, it was only sold on the official website. But because of COVID-19 in 2020, COVID changed everything, and the consumption trends as well as patterns changed as well. So we started to enter and expand into new channels such as Naver, Coupang, Kakao, SSG, and Curly on top of our exclusive store. Now, this is also from Korea Statistics data. You can see the total online beauty market and the transactions on the online channels. In 2022, the projection is negative 8.4. However, if you look at the bar chart, well, the transaction, we will lose some of the transaction in the duty-free. However, in the local market, the transaction is likely to go up 10.6%. So that shows that even after COVID-19, people are buying more in online stores. And I'd also like to talk about the chart on the right. It's shown in the year-on-year growth by channel type. The transactions vary by platform. We talk a lot about online platforms and e-commerce being the best platforms these days. However, you can see that the customer base varies depending on the channel. Now I will break down by channel. If you look at Naver, well, you're all familiar with Naver. Naver is a search engine. So here, 24 to 39 aged people are the main consumer demographics. However, consumers in their 40s are also some of the consumers that largely purchase on the channel. And this means that there is a strong need for various types of products. So rather than focusing on a single hero product, it is important to expose a wide range of trendy and seasonal products. In the case of Coupang, most purchases are led by moms in their 20s and 30s, and they buy most of the hero products. So hero products are the ones that drive sales. This suggests that you need to buy and focus on the hero products near the top of the search engine or heavily invest in the main search keywords. Now moving on to Kakao. Kakao is well known for its gifting channel, but it's also a powerful live commerce platform, and it provides a great platform for the newcomers to jump in and promote as well as sell their products. So we need to maintain that channel. At the same time, for SSG, it's a department store channel, meaning that the age group is relatively high. And well, skincare sets and serum, as well as high functional products are some of the products that can largely drive the sales. Now I will talk more about the specific cases. So I talked about our official online store, and I would like to talk about the campaigns that we carried out and how it succeeded and what we did well to succeed. Now, as for our official store, it is our asset. So after the kickoff in 2015, for 5 years, we did not run other channels. So we nurtured and really fostered the growth of our official store for the first 5 years. However, from the customer's point of view, instead of going to the official mall, Coupang and Naver, as well as other channels, are more accessible from the consumer's perspective. So we had to promote the reason, we had to create the reason for the consumers to come into our official mall. As you can see here, we sell products that are exclusive to clinics and hospitals. And with UI and UX that are very consumer driven, we were able to promote the products well and curate the products well for the consumers to see. We made it very intuitive and very user friendly for the consumers. So when they visit our website, they can check up their skin, and then they can find out and identify their problems. They can test their skins, and then they can receive samples. So those are some of the services that we provide. And now next is Derm Live, and the dermatologists and the doctors will engage in live sessions with the customers, and they will talk about some of the beauty issues that you're having, some of the skin troubles that you're having. So they do have some beauty sessions, and you can also ask questions and receive answers. So that is a very differentiated service that we provide on Derm Live. So these are some of the strategies that we undertook to maintain the customers and to turn them into loyal customers. Now moving on to Naver. Naver is not just an e-commerce platform, as I said, but it's also a search engine, which means that we should not focus on a single hero product or one bestseller. You need to really offer seasonal products and popular products of that season. I will now show you a campaign that we ran on Naver, and then I will continue on with my explanation.
네, 그 보여드린 영상과 같이
As you saw from the video, we
플라스틱 선데이와 같이 해서 플라스틱을
together
줄이는
with other
캠페인을
eco-friendly organizations, we ran some campaigns, and it may look like it's an ad. However, it was a short form video, and it was executed on the commerce platform of Naver. So while people saw the videos, they could actually buy and purchase the products here, and we did not talk about markdowns of the products. We did not talk about the sales of the product. However, it still led to sales, and that was quite impressive. So I just wanted to point that out. And Naver not only provides a e-commerce, but also it has a Happy Bin fundraising page, and consumers were encouraged to participate in a campaign for tree planting, which was promoted on Naver's Happy Bin fundraising page, and it was a good campaign that increased brand engagement, and it was a great opportunity to encourage consumers to also purchase products here. I will talk more about the live content. I'm sure that you know about the live commerce content on Naver. So you have the show host here who talks about the benefits of the product and also talks about the overall product. But what they offer in Naver, they not only allow us to upload some short form videos, but if you go there, you will be able to see a lot of videos from influencers as well as other show hosts.
광고 영상도 만드시겠죠?
You can also create some ads.
그리고 실제로 진행했던
And this is the live commerce video that we actually executed on this platform.
에디팅을 해서
And we edited the video to a short form video.
브랜드에서 노력해서 만들었던
And this is what we did at Roche Posay.
창출할 수 있는 부분들도
And we were able to create added value with this content, and it drove sales, and it really boosted brand awareness from the consumers. And I'm sure you know about this, but I'd like to briefly talk about the relationship between the number of views and sales. So as you can see here, the numbers are here. So the lively reuse edited, the views was about 3,500, but the sales was huge. And most of the time, many people think that the number of live views is directly related to sales. And we actually conducted a test. Roche Posay ran ads during the same main live shows in January and August to boost traffic. And when compared to the January show, during which we ran ads targeting all age groups, the September event, which targeted the 30s and 40s, saw the sales figure more than double. So the strategy was a little bit different. In August, as you can see here, you see huge traffic in the 30s and 40s, and we localized the target, and we were able to reach our target customers. So less traffic, but more sales was the result. So I talked about many strategies in a short duration of time. I will now give you a summary. If you run a e-commerce channel for your brand, you need to be strategic. You need to have an official online store and have a differentiated strategy for that store. Because the official online store not only drives sales for the brand, but it can create many touch points with the consumers. So it's a great opportunity, a channel to communicate with the consumers. And you need to be able to induce more loyal consumers to your online store. And for other channels, you also need to nurture such channels, but you need to understand the platform well in advance. Who uses this platform and when do they access this platform and why? You need to understand those reasons, and you need to write resources and the right strategies to work on those channels, and that can only drive sales.
마지막으로는
Last but not least,
그 마케팅 활동을 통해서 만들어진
now with
콘텐츠들을
marketing activities, you will create many content, and those content can be reused and re-exposed on various platforms.
매출을 올려가고 그리고
So
컨텐츠를
by
굉장히
recycling and
다양한
reusing
소비자들에게
such
보여주는
content,
것이
you can actually drive traffic, but also that can translate into actual customers. Thank you very much for your time.
브랜드에 대해서 좋은 사례를
And thank you for giving me the opportunity to present about Roche Posay's case. Thank you very much.
네, 로레알
Yes,
그룹
thank you
코리아
very much
신임명
for that
디렉터님의
presentation.
정말 구체적인 사례를
You
통해서
gave us some very
설명을
detailed
해주셨는데요.
cases
다시
of your
한번
brand.
여러분
Please
주시기
give
바랍니다.
Ms. Shin another big round of applause.
중간중간에 저 뒤에서
And
이렇게 조용하게 해주시더라고요.
well, I
치셔도 됩니다.
saw
호응도
people
많이
who were
해주셔도 되는데요. 오늘
shy
굉장히 중요한
clapping,
정보
but
얻어가시는
please show a lot of
거잖아요.
enthusiasm
소비
for the
트렌드
speakers because
변화에 맞게
the
어떤
presentations
채널을
are very
이용해서
useful
어떤
and you will be able to
콘텐츠를
learn
이용해서
much
마케팅을
from the
해보실까에
brand's
대해서
experiences,
고민해
and it will give you a great opportunity to
이어서
think about what you can do with your own brands.
발표자분 소개해
Now let's move on to the second
드리도록
presentation.
하겠습니다.
This
AK
presentation
Plaza
will be
신수진
given by Ms. Shin
소장님이
Sujin, the Deputy General Manager at
사실
AK
스타트업이나
Plaza.
이렇게
And you do
시작하는
know that
기업이
startups and
전통의
businesses that are just
유통 채널에
starting out,
입점하기는
it's very
정말
difficult for
쉽지
them
않죠.
to enter
이런
the
노하우들을
traditional distribution
전해주신다고
channel, and
합니다.
she will
뷰티
share
스타트업
some of our
오프라인
know-hows.
진출을
The topic of our
위한
presentation
사례를
is know-hows for
공유해
offline
주신다고 합니다.
beauty
여기 계신
startups,
분들 아마
and
많은
she will
관심
share some
가지고 계실 것
specific
같은데요.
cases. I'm sure a lot of
신수진
you will
수석님
be interested. So
큰
let's
박수로 모시도록
invite Ms. Shin
하겠습니다.
Sujin with a big round of applause.
안녕하세요. 저는
Hello,
오늘 강연을 맡게 된 AK 플라자.
my name is Shin Sujin. I'm a Deputy General Manager at AK Plaza.
그래서 오늘 테마가
So the topic of
트렌드 디지털 마케팅인데
this very conference and this very seminar is digital marketing and trends. And I'm not sure if I'm the right person to talk about this topic, but I'll do my best. So I'll briefly introduce myself. I've been working at department stores for over 20 years in terms of general merchandises, beauty, accessories, lifestyle, and so I basically covered all categories, and I am covering those categories even today. So what I want to tell you today is that we have many startup brands here in the booths, and it's very difficult for these brands to go into the offline distribution channel. So I want to share my know-hows as to how you can more easily access these distribution channels and get closer to customers. So my presentation will be based on my personal experiences.
오늘 좀 이렇게 큰 데서 하는 게 처음이어서
It's my first time making a presentation in front of such a large crowd, so I prepared a memo or a script. Oh, I'm sorry, a little memo. And actually, I'm going to give you some quizzes later at the end of my presentation. If you get the answer right, I will give you some prizes. Now, let me talk about the order of my presentation. I'm going to talk about the trends that have continued since 2021 after COVID-19. So I brought some trends and keywords in the COVID era. And I will also like to talk about product strategies for the success of startups. And whenever I meet and consult with these brand startups, there are many things I felt that they could improve. So I want to tell you about that. And the third part of my presentation is about the necessity of offline operation and guide to getting your products into stores. So I'm going to talk about the routes or the path that you have to enter in order to get your products into stores.
우선 21년 트렌드, 21년 리뷰를 먼저 말씀드리면
Now, I'm going to give you a review of department store revenues in 2021. And you might think it's very strange that we're nearing 2023. So why am I talking about 2021? And actually, the revenue structure was rather unique in 2021.
19년도 상반기부터
Starting from the early 2019 up until mid 2020, revenues were very poor.
그리고 1조가 넘는
And
점포들이 21년도에
in 2020, but that changes in 2021. There are 6 more stores that raise more than 1 trillion won in revenue, and they actually account for 45% of the total revenue. And all of these stores are actually luxurious brands.
무엇을 말하냐면
So what does this mean?
결국에는 소비 양극화가 되게 심하게
So there is a consumption polarization.
19년도하고
In
20년
2019 and 2020, early 2020, due to COVID-19, people did not make consumptions. But after that, basically their desire to consume burst. And therefore, the revenue of these luxury brands enjoyed high growth, a 2-digit growth. But that was not the case for domestic brands. So if you look at 2021 overall, K-beauty, K-fashion, they did not enjoy good statistics, while imported luxury brands enjoyed high growth. They didn't even have enough products to sell. So Korean brands, even with low prices, their products will not sell, but that was exactly the opposite for luxury brands. So I think 2021 was a very difficult year for Korean brands. And like I said before, people basically unleashed their desire to buy things right after 2021. So once again, they began to make consumptions for inner beauty and health. And many sports-related items began to be sold in high volume as well. And the cosmetics trend after COVID is like this. So in department stores, many of them are direct contact. They are made in direct contact, but non-face-to-face contact sales have grown significantly. So people don't necessarily have to go visit department stores, but they can always use a telephone to buy what they want. And this related sales is increasing and it will continue to do so in the future. Of course, not only online but offline sales have also grew by 12%. So we have to focus on both online and offline. So what I feel is that we do what we have done in online, but we provide something new to people offline. So in other words, we should provide, for example, services that can only be accessed offline. So this is a task for all brands today. And also, there is a high trend on vegan products and eco-friendly products, and many people are interested in these premium brands for the skin as well as fragrances because we are now wearing masks. So the keywords for 2023 are high-functioning cosmetics, convenience, wrinkle improvement, skin soothing, and clean beauty and effortless look, and so on. So now I'd like to talk about some strategies for the success of beauty startups. Now that sounds really big, but as I said before, I actually went to a Jeju Cosmetics Center, and there's also similar center like in Osok, in Chungbuk, and what I felt by visiting those centers and by meeting the brands who actually develop and produce their own brands is what is contained in this slide. So we need to be able to analyze the offline market and set the target. So I don't know if this is a right example, but you have your ideal type, but you don't necessarily marry your ideal type. not everyone marries their ideal type. It's the same thing. So whenever I meet these companies, they don't seem to realize that the customer base whom they wish for, in other words, the customer base that they want, does not actually match the actual customer base who use their products.
소비자 입장에서 보면
So from consumer point of view,
제조하시는 분들 생각하는 그 이상형의 소비자가 이 제품을 구매할 것 같지는
This
않은데라는
product
생각이 들 때가 되게 많거든요.
sometimes does
이런
not
예를
suit them
예를
when.
들면 오프라인 진출을 어렵게 했어요.
So let's say that a beauty brand enters the offline store.
제가 봤을 때 이 제품을 쓰는 건 케이스가 되게 예쁘고
Now,
좀
and it
가격이
has
좀
some,
저렴하고
beautiful
이런 걸
casing
줬을 때
and
어린
low
고등학생이나 20대
prices,
초반이
and it could appeal to
사용을
young
할것 같다, 먹게
students
될 것 같다고
and
생각하는 제품인데
college students in their 20s, but the brand actually
구매력이 좀 있는
believes
30대
that
초반이나
this
40대
will be sold to
생각을 하시는
people in their 30s and 40s with higher purchasing power.
오프라인에 그걸 맞는 상권에 제품에 맞는 상권에 진출을 해야 되지만
So you have to be able to distribute your product to the right market, the right offline market, but that is not the case.
상황이 발생하는 거예요. 그러니까 저는 그걸 보면서 그런 걸 좀 갭을 줄이면
So looking at that, I wanted to narrow this perception gap.
조금 더 효과 있고
I wanted
좀더 좋은 평가를 받을 수 있지 않을까라는
the
생각이
brands to
좀 많이
actually
들어서
set the right target to win more favorable
예를 들어서 뭐 50대 시니어가 많은 데는
responses from the customers. So let's say that
헤어 제품이라고 친다고
it's a hair product.
아니 탈색이나 염색이 가능한 그런 제품이나 아니면 트리트먼트나 이런
Whether it be hair dye product or hair treatment product.
염색이나 이렇게 모발에 색을 입히는 거 우리는 가장 강점을
Let's say that in brand A says our strength lies in this type of shampoo that actually has hair dye effect. This means that this particular brand has to go into an offline store that targets people who are at a senior age. So
가장 중요한 관점이라고 저는 생각해서
I believe that this is a very important point. You need to know who your target is when you make your first entry.
점별 특성이 맞는 내 제품과 사용자와 맞아떨어지는 점포에
So you have to find a store that attracts customers who are likely to use your products. And once you enter into that store, you have to be able to provide experiences to the customers. Now, you want your customers to purchase your products, right? So when once customers buy their products, they would share that with their friends through word of mouth. Young people would upload some reviews of the product through social media platforms and so on. So in order to induce that, you really need the offline channel. Yes, I know that it's very difficult to enter the offline channel. And the reason for that is, first, there's a high fee. And second,
지금 제가 그 스타트업 브랜드를 미팅을 하다 보면
whenever I meet with these startup brands, many of them are comprised of just 1 people to up to 5 people, which means that a few people has to do everything, so therefore they cannot conduct efficient marketing activities. So they don't have the capacity to do business like big companies like L'Oreal. So they need another separate structure who can do this kind of stuff for them. So I think the brands, for example, could work together under a single theme. So in other words, they would, for example, hold a temporary event all together as an alliance at a department store, which means that they will be able to concentrate on their brands fully and promote their brands. And they will also be able to deliver more accurate information to the customers than by working alone.
물론 온라인만 진행해도 괜찮겠죠. 그러면 이제
Sometimes online channel might be sufficient because you will have less burden to invest in offline
경쟁이 너무 치열해요. 온라인은. 왜냐면 너무 많이
activities, but online channels are very competitive. There are just so many brands out there. And amidst this high level of competition, it's very difficult for consumers to buy your product when they don't even know what your brand is and when they can't experience your brand physically. So I think going into the offline channel is very important. If you go to the department stores or shopping malls, there are these so-called flea markets featuring many brands, right? And usually these brands are related to producing general merchandises and so on. But for the past 5 years, we are increasingly seeing like living products, like diffusers, for example, as well as cosmetics being featured into these flea markets. So many brands start out with these flea shops, and they also open these so-called mono shops in major department stores and so on. So these offline channels will allow the customers to actually experience your brand and promote your brand through word of mouth, which would provide your brand an opportunity to grow. So I want startup brands to take advantage of these group-based events and group-based activities. Now, I'd like to talk about the importance of packaging and marketing. Now, Dear Dahlia, when I first saw this brand, I thought this was a overseas brand. You know, the case looks very luxurious. But contrary to how luxurious the container looks, this brand is not that expensive. When H&B sector really surged in 2019, Dear Dahlia gained a lot of brand awareness from customers in their teens and 20s. And Dear Dahlia still does not have many offline stores, but from 2019 to 2020, it opened a lot of pop-up stores. And I also asked Dear Dahlia to come into AK Plaza. That did not happen. But anyway, Dear Dahlia actually went into these H&B stores as a shop in terms of a shop-in-shop concept, and through the help of these offline channels, Dear Dahlia has grown so much that it's now able to use celebrities for its advertisements. And here's also another brand called Hwahae on the left, and their product was very innovative. And I think the launch of this brand was also very timely. It's a brand that can be used by younger people all the way to some older aged people, from students to housewives. And when you first saw the TV ad for Hwahae, you probably thought, what was that at first? But then you find yourself being drawn to it. And also Hwahae conducted a lot of PPLs in various TV shows and dramas. I'm not a marketer, and I'm not someone who's in charge of branding, but as a person who actually meets consumers and meets startups, I believe that a brand needs to satisfy the level of quality and price that customers expect. And Dear Dahlia did well in that, and Hwahae also did well, especially in its advertisement. Now,
저는 백화점
This is a quiz that I'm going to give you.
써봤어요.
Now, I'm in a
이렇게
department store. I'm working in a
갈색감,
department store,
미치향수,
so I used all these
이렇게만
products.
들어도
So
무슨 브랜드인지
if you hear about the
저는 딱,
word brown
그거
bottle
소주잔에
or
먹어야지
niche perfume,
라고 다 알고 있잖아요.
don't certain
근데
brands
여러분도
pop up
혹시
into your
뷰티에
head?
관심이 있으신
So
분들
if you're
혹시
interested
알고
in
있는지
beauty
너무
and
궁금한
cosmetics,
거예요.
you probably
이거를
know
제가
this.
문제를 드리려고.
So I want to give you this as a
달성은 너무
quiz.
쉽지
No,
않아요. 이거는 제가
brown
하겠습니다.
bottle. This is
이건
so
에스티로더.
easy.
이건
Estee
다
Lauder,
아시죠?
right? Night repair.
수분
Everyone knows this.
크림은
Then what about
딱 하면-
moisturizing cream? What brand comes into your mind?
맞아요.
Yes, you're
끝나면
right.
저한테 오시는
KL. Yes. Please come to me right after
그러면
this
에센스
presentation.
로션은?
What about essence lotion?
맞아요.
Yes, Sicily. That's
우리-
right.
그다음 아직 손대지 마세요.
Don't raise your hand
미치향수는
yet.
하면 이제 조말론이죠.
Niche perfume, Jo Malone, right? That's obvious.
그다음 오일
Oil
클렌징 하면
cleansing,
시쉐이도가 유명하죠.
Shiseido.
그리고 이제 이거는 저희 회사에서 그런 건 아니지만 견미리
Now,
팩하면
Kyomiri
어디가
face packed. What comes to your mind?
손을 드셔야 되는데.
You have to raise your hand.
맞아요.
Yes, age
세 분은 제가
20s.
따라드리겠습니다.
Yes, I will give you a prize later.
age
Age
20s.
20s.
핸드크림 하면
Hand cream.
이제 끝났어요. 세 개밖에
Oh, okay.
없어요.
So I'm actually
역시 땅이고요.
done.
이렇게
I
반응이
only have
저렇게
3
올랐네요.
prizes,
전지현
so I'm
립스틱
done.
하면 이제
But anyway,
립스틱이죠.
전지현 lipstick,
파란
YSL,
자차 하면 시쉐.
and the blue chemical sunscreen,
그거 하면
Shiseido.
그거라는 시그니처.
Now these are
아이템들이
signature
있잖아요.
items, right?
얘네
When you
브랜드가
hear
다
these
일찍
keywords,
다 잘하는 건 아니에요.
you
중에
immediately
하나가
think
정말
about these products.
그거 하면
And it's not that
얘네야라고
these
나오는
brands
지금 스타트업 하는
do
브랜드들
well in
그거
everything.
하면
It's not like
이것이라는
all the products of
브랜드를
these
개발해서
brands perform
성장할
at
수
an
있으면
excellent
마음에
level,
이걸 좀
but
먹고요.
they do have these specific products that they do
오프라인은
very well.
이제 이거는
So this is what you
홈페이지에
need to
다
think
나와
about
있어요. 그래서
for
상담
your
신청하시고
brand.
상담하고 뭐
Now,
미팅하고 오프라인을 들어가시면 되는 거고 아까 얘기했듯이 제가 서두 얘기했던 것처럼 연합
this is how
행사에서
you would enter into an
스타트업은
offline
같이
brand,
들어가야
offline
시너지가
channel.
얻어나기
You can
때문에
read this later.
그렇게 해서
And as I
고객을
said
좀더
before, if you
만날 수
work
있는
together
점의
with the
기회를
brands,
갖는 게
you'll be able to
그래서
find more
내가
opportunities to
고객을 좀
physically meet your
나를 찾아-
customers.
그러니까 브랜드를 찾아와서 좀 더 내 브랜드를 알 수 있게 하는 게 가장 좋은 방법이라고 생각해요. 왜냐하면
I believe that the best way for a brand to grow is to induce
비용을 많이
customers to
투자할 수가
come
없잖아요.
find
그래서
you.
그런 방법을 좀 더
For
많이
startups, you
했으면 좋겠고요.
cannot
그리고 이게 지금 저희가 현재 충분
afford to spend a lot of budget on solo marketing activities and so on. So this kind of activities are very good. And we have 10 brands under the Chungbuk Brand Alliance that are conducting a pop-up store in AK Plaza, and they received very positive responses from the customers.
이런 스타트업 브랜드를 통해서 좀 많이 고객을 보여줄 수 있는 이런 행사를 좀 많이 기획하고 싶고.
So going forward,
이런 것
AK
때문에
Plaza
저를
wants to
좀
hold a
와서
lot
얘기해달라고
of
얘기한 것
events
같아요.
for
생각이
startup
들어서
brands. And I think
제가
that's
많이 도움이
precisely
됐으면
why
좋겠습니다.
the organizer
이제
of this
이건
event
보조자라고요.
asked me to come make a
이게 이제
presentation.
저희 지금 K 열풍이 좀 많잖아요.
And now the so-called
영화도
K
그렇고 패션도 문화도
wave
많은데
is actually
저희
blowing all
뷰티도
across the world. K fashion,
K
K
마스크도
movie,
오늘
K
엄청
culture,
많더라고요.
and K
마스크 말고,
beauty
K 뷰티
is
하면,
also
K 뷰티는 그냥
very
화장품
popular.
한국 가면 다 좋지 뭐.
You know,
그렇게 생각이 들 정도로 좀 성장해서
I
그런
hope that
소리가
going
나오는
forward,
날이
K
왔으면
beauty
좋겠습니다.
will grow
고맙습니다.
so that people will recognize, the global audience
네,
will recognize
여러분,
all
정말
products of K
구체적인
beauty
사례 발표였죠.
being very
AK
excellent.
플라자
Thank you very much. That was
다시
Miss
한번
SHIN from
박수
AK
부탁드리겠습니다.
Plaza. Please give her another big round of applause.
네. 박수 소리는 크지 않은데 상품을 준다고 하니까 소리가 엄청 크더라고요. 계속해서 호응 좀 많이
I saw
보내주시기
some
바랍니다.
people giving really big round of
온라인
applauses when she
마케팅이야
said that
많이
she's
알려져
going to
있지만
give you a quiz
오프라인에
and give you
어떻게
out
입점해야
prizes.
될까? 스타트업에게
But anyway, I
좀
hope that this
민망하실
presentation
텐데요.
was helpful for
구체적인
startups who are looking to
방향을
go
제시해
into
주는
offline
도움이 많이
stores.
되는 발표였던 것 같습니다. 그럼 세 번째
Now let's move on to the
인사이트
third
만나봐야
presentation.
될 텐데요. 다시 브랜딩
Yes,
사례
we
발표가
will
되겠습니다.
hear about another
대한민국에서 가장
branding
오랜
case.
역사를 자랑하는
And
메이크업 전문
this makeup
브랜드입니다. 다양한
brand
브랜드의
boasts the
전체를
longest
세계
history in
성공시켰고요.
Korea
클리오
and
마케팅
has
본부의
successfully
이지원
launched a
이사님
series of brands.
모셔보도록
I would
하겠습니다.
like to
이번
invite
시간에는
Director
메이크업 브랜드의
이지원
디지털
of CLIO,
브랜딩 사례를
who will
준비해
talk about digital
주셨는데요.
branding of
클리오의
makeup
브랜딩
brands.
스토리와
She will
대표
talk
브랜드
about
페리페라의
CLIO's
최근
signature
브랜딩
brands
사례까지
and the
아낌없이
brand
준비를
activities,
해주셨다고 합니다.
and
박수와
also
함께
about
만나보도록
the case
하겠습니다.
of Peripera. So please give her a big hand.
우리 클리오 감사합니다.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction, and thank you very much, CLIO team.
안녕하세요. 저는 클리오 마케팅.
Good afternoon. My name is EunGyung. I am the head of the marketing division at CLIO. CLIO Cosmetics has 9 brands, and today I would like to tell you about the digital branding cases of CLIO and Peripera, 2 of CLIO Cosmetics' signature brands. I won't talk about large-sized campaigns, but I wanted to tell you that all digital activities are at the end of the day organically connected to stay on the customer's mind. Before jumping into details, I would like to talk about some theoretical background about the customer brand touchpoint because it will help you follow me. The terms ATL and BTL were used in the past, but given that digital media became a large media, we should look at communication channels from 3 angles. So we have owned media defined as a set of communication outlets. Examples would be social media accounts, websites, or app of a brand. Paid media refers to external marketing efforts that involve a paid placement, such as branded content, ads, or display ads. These days, paid media would largely be digital ads, and earned media is coverage or promotion of your brand through organic means, which includes content created by celebrities, influencers, and consumers. Examples would be comments, reviews, communities, personal social media, blogs, and more. So, on top of that, we have beauty influencers. They could go under paid or unpaid media, but since they have been greatly influenced by various industries, I have separated them. Today, I would like to focus on the activities in owned media. Although not included in today's example, paid media with digital advertising is evolving with competition getting fiercer. With the rise of performance marketing, online advertising expenses have already exceeded half of the total advertising market and still increasing. Beauty ads ranked top 5 in the online advertising market, so the market is huge. Again, although not included in today's case, beauty influencer marketing has also evolved in various ways, and you can actually feel it expanding even as we speak. It is no exaggeration to say that creators and Instagrammers have a greater influence on fans over celebrities or idols. Paid media and owned media, beauty influencers, all key marketing touchpoints, but I think that a key element that runs through these touchpoints is creative content, which is growing in importance as the ad market gets fiercer, as it is the creative content that addresses both branding and marketing at the same time. This usually happens in owned media. And in that regard, I would like to first talk about the case of Peripera. To determine the brand direction in terms of content, we worked on the brand architecture first. I'm sure that by now you have noticed, but Peripera is a beauty brand that manifests the individuality of Gen Zs. So the narrative is go along the trend, but Gen Zs do not want anything that is too obvious or too difficult. They want a bit of an emotional touch that will make their days special. So they want the perfect secret weapon or cheat key for themselves. The keywords include well-flowing vibe, being free, playful, and sensible, as well as friendly. Now, we did some re-articulation of the keywords and the style for Peripera. If you look at the before and after images, now these campaigns were carried out this year. This is the SS season campaign, and the keyword was Pinterest. We wanted Peripera's pink to evoke a sweet sense of excitement without being too childish. We also worked on the number of content to give endless enjoyment to Gen Zs. Here, so we created 4.5 times more content per shooting. Now, if you plunge into the content for a moment, can you feel the good vibes flowing? And you can also feel the secret weapon that can make you look pretty, and I'm sure that you can feel how free, how liberating it makes you feel. Now, in the official account, we looked at the number of impressions, and the impressions hit 3.8 million. If you're an Instagrammer, I'm sure that you know how huge this number is. And even when compared to the previous annual average, it went up by 6 times for Peripera. So that was a huge success. And that was even without the power of ads or the help of advertising. We also gained another insight. As the quantity and quality of the branded content improved, the efficiency of paid media or advertising went up. As performance marketing becomes more common, branding can feel like a pain in the neck, as advertising content is created based on data and sales. So you tend to chase efficiency because you want to increase ROIC, ROIS, or you want to increase impressions. And sometimes you do not want to focus too much on brand identity because it feels like a luxury. But once I went to a lecture about performance marketing of companion animals, and what resonated with me was that compassion is key when advertising companion animal products. So I think the key message here was that we must never forget the essence of the campaign. We promote and carry out marketing activities for beauty products, so that should be our DNA, that should be our essence. So on the left is the creatives we used during the seasonal sale, and we appealed on the markdown price. And on the right ones show about the markdowns as well, but it articulates the message that it is not any tint that you can find anywhere, any place, but a Peripera tint. As the quantity and quality of content improved, Peripera was able to carry out performance marketing. And of course, it turned out to be quite efficient in terms of numbers. Otherwise, I wouldn't have brought this case. So I really thanked my team members for awakening me and teaching me that creatives can also be this beautiful. Now, next, this is Perry restaurant content we executed in May in collaboration with Uttugi. We also worked on increasing the amount of content, but here a story was built around how Peripera, a must-go restaurant for color cosmetics, came together with Uttugi, a must-go restaurant for instant meal. So the 3-minute ready-made curry concept was borrowed to create a 3-part instant shading with a tint in the shape of a ketchup bottle, and we created a seating box that embodied this concept. And this was turned into a digital content. So as you know, I talked about seating box, and seating box is part of a digital content. And by doing so, we were able to boost effectiveness in earned content because the influencers who received the seating box uploaded so much content for us. So seating boxes became a part of a digital content, and that drove and boosted effectiveness. I don't know whether you've heard of Carrot, a media that covers Gen Z's trends, but actually this case was introduced as a successful collaboration campaign on Carrot.
그랬더니
And
틱톡
we also collaborated
굉장히
with
좋은 사례,
TikTok.
광고 사례다.
And TikTok
라고 해서
also
저희의 그 우쭈기
highly
콜라보
recognized
광고
our
사례를
campaign
전
as a
세계의
successful
마케터들에게
campaign.
공유를
So
했었습니다.
it shared our
그
case
정도로
to
반응이 좀
global
뜨거웠던
marketers. So you can see how
캠페인이었습니다.
well received
그다음
this
캠페인은
campaign
또
was.
이것도 이제 여름 시즌에 진행했던
And this is
캠페인이에요.
another
물복
campaign
닦복.
that we
지금은
ran
아시죠?
for the
물렁한
summer season.
물복숭아,
This
딱딱한
is
복숭아.
물복
네, 캠페인을
campaign,
펼쳤는데요.
which stands
저희
for
대표 품목으로는
soft versus
에어리
hard
벨벳
peach
틴트라고 해서
editions.
에어리
So the main product
이
here is
그
airy
구름처럼
velvet
흡수한
tint,
질감을 가진
which offers an
틴트가
airy
있어요.
cloud-like
복숭아의
quality.
이
So we tried to render the
상큼한
perfect
이런
texture
컬러감을 좀
and
더해주고
color of the
싶었습니다.
two different
그래서
peach
탄생한
types when
콘텐츠가
creating our
보시는 것처럼 두
content.
번째에 둥둥 떠 있는
So as you can
셀프
see here, this is the
영상입니다.
3D
이런
floating
예쁜
content
콘텐츠를
that we
만들어
rendered.
나갔고요. 저희가 이제 모델 한 분에게는 이제
And,
물고기 컨셉으로 좀
Now,
우수한 룩을
if you look at
보였고,
here,
한
one
분에게
model
다른
is wearing the
분에게는
soft
땅콩의
peach
컨셉으로 조금 진한 룩을 선보였습니다.
velvet tint,
지금
going
이제
with
돌아가는
mild tone and
콘텐츠
manner,
모델이
and the
입은
hard
의상 타고 한번
peach version
보시면 보이시죠?
is a more
저게
darker
뭐냐면 복숭아를
note.
싸고 있는 하얀색
And
플라스틱 포장지 아세요?
Here, the brand model
그거
is
진짜
wearing
그거예요. 진짜
a
그걸로
peach wrapping
탑을
paper
만들어서 입혔습니다.
top.
정말 직원들의 아이디어가
It was a brilliant
그래서
idea.
이런 것들을 다 반영을 해서 이렇게
So after creating
조그만
this content,
콘텐츠를
we were able to
만들었더니 어떤
drive
일이
sales by
발생했냐면
using customer data.
이커머스
And by
부분에서
relying
매출에
on
직접적인
these
기여를
brilliant
하게
ideas,
됐습니다. 어떻게
it actually
했냐?
contributed to
이게
sales,
그
as I just
매체들이
mentioned.
발신하는 뭐 예를 들면 그 매체의
Let me
카카오톡
tell you
팬층들이
how
있을 거잖아요.
it drove
이커머스
sales.
팬층들. 그분들에게
What we
우리의
did is
콘텐츠가
that we pushed
발신되니까 너무
messages to
예쁘니까
our
다른
mall or vertical mall
광고들보다
customers,
클릭률이 굉장히
and a
높았던
much
거예요.
larger number
그래서
of customers
단시간 내에
rushed in
판매가
the mall
급증하는 효과가
as the content
나타났습니다.
itself was
그리고
so
우리의
outstanding.
콘텐츠들이 예뻐서
and eye-catching.
메인 푸시로 올리기도 하고 이런
And
일들이
they
일어나게
also,
됐고요. 그래서
pushed
각그 커머스몰에서
our content on top of their account.
1등을
And in the vertical
달성하기도
malls,
했습니다. 그래서 이렇게
our brand
콘텐츠
also topped the
자체가
list on
직접적으로
Aidly,
매출에
Brandy, and
기여하기도
Naver.
한다라는 말씀을 드리고 싶었고
So I just wanted
또
to tell you
자사몰에서는
that
이
great
콘텐츠를
content can
활용한
contribute to
광고 소재가
online sales.
로아스가 1000%대를 넘기는 기염을 토하게
And
됐습니다.
also the number of ROAS, so ROAS reached the thousands range in our branded mall. So as such, the customer data can actually contribute to sales.
콜라보레이션을 진행을 했었습니다.
And
젠지들의 그
we
이모티콘,
work
이게
day and night. As you can see here, we also collaborated with Gen Z's favorite emoji artist,
갓생산다라는
최고심.
표현 알고 계시죠? 그래서 내가 최고라고 아주 귀여운 캐릭터.
I'm sure that you've heard of the expression living your best life.
그다음에 그 갓생을 응원하는
So 고심이
페라가
is a cute character that lives its best life, and Peripera became the so to speak sponsor of 고심이. 고심이 is already cute enough, but when combined with Peripera, the content exceeded the Instagram impression cap in the first 2 weeks of Pinterest. The record was 4 million impressions. So the previous one was 3.8 million, but this one, the 고심 collaboration edition surpassed the 4 million mark in terms of impressions. And what we did, we also developed a psychological test for the Gen Zs using the 고심이 emoji. And of course, we cannot tell for sure how psychological tests can actually drive sales. However, the CTR was quite huge. Well, in content marketing, interesting content can create buzz, but it is not clear whether it leads to sales or contributes to brand image. So as I
mentioned, we used to be hesitant and we did not use any psychological test marketing before as part of the interesting content exposure. However, now the content was played 130,000 times and CTR was 2.37%, and the content generated more earned media content such as self-test results.
지금은 도토리 컬렉션을 진행하고 있습니다.
And now the Acorn collection is in progress. The creative content exudes the autumn vibes, which is very peripera-like. And products are going through repetitive cycles of sold out and restocking. Now moving on to CLIO's case. CLIO also reviewed its brand architecture. CLIO is inseparable from the concept or theme of confidence. So the slogan was express your own confidence. The narrative is I am honest and free, I have my own way of designing my life, I express myself authentically and confidently, and I enjoy exchanging my beliefs and tastes with others. I'm full of confidence. Now, confidence used to be a keyword in the previous campaigns as well, so we retained the idea for branding. However, we gave more weight to unleashing one's inner confidence and being opinionated than outer beauty. And I don't know whether you can tell the difference between the left and right, but the left is more about perfection, whereas the right is more about being liberated and being bold. It's about celebrating women who have more confidence. Now, in the spring of 2022, we created more than twice as much content as before per shooting. Also, we created content that not only featured our brand models, but also celebrities who can endorse the theme. And this is the number of impressions on the owned media. And the content created huge exposure on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We created many short-form videos per platform, and this is what happened.
트위터 실시간 트렌드 실트의
We got real-time tweets.
실시간 급상승어 같은 건데 한국만 들어간 게 아니라
Well, this is like a search ranking on a portal website, and the content got real-time tweets not only in Korea but also in Indonesia and the Philippines, which was a unique experience. And even on Facebook, although I do not know what exact algorithm was behind it, but one content reached 180,000 reaches. So we mashed the right content with the right brand, and that created the craze among the fans and customers. And some may say that's because he used idols as your models, but that's not true. The right brand came up with the right content, and by mashing them together, we were able to drive huge success. Now we are currently carrying out a campaign on the theme of Mangwon Gallery. We developed the product in collaboration with a beauty influencer and turned it into CLIO-like content. And I'm sure that you know who that is. It's Minsko. And I don't know whether you will participate in the beauty night event tonight, but there will be a show with Minsko, so please participate and go see Minsko. And by inviting Minsko to co-work with us as a developer slash model slash content creator, we were able to create create content in owned page and earned media. This is the final case. The new cushion compact, which sold out as soon as it was out in the market. Well, we had one mission, which was to create the vibes of hip and confident, and the theme was incorporated in all visuals that featured the main model, submodel, and product. And a result on day one of launch, customer sales reached 30,000, and that's 1 month worth of sales. So I have told you about what kind of results creative content can produce. It can deliver a higher reach than advertising, even in the absence of advertising budget, and even leads to sales, in commerce sales. It can also generate word of mouth.
점점 더 광고 시장은 치열해질
Going
거고요.
forward,
인플루언서
the ad
마케팅도 마찬가지일
market
거예요.
will
비용은
undergo
우리에게
fierce
더 많이
competition,
들어갈
and the same
거고요.
goes
그렇게 되다
for
보면 점점
influencer
크리에이티브한 컨텐츠가
and
더
ad
중요한
marketing,
시기가 올
which
건데요.
means that
기회가 와
creative
있고요. 더
content will
중요하게 될
become more
겁니다.
important
오늘
than ever.
말씀드리진 않았지만 클리오의 모든 상품들은
I,
핵심을 기반으로
of course,
해서
did not
최고의
cover
퀄리티를
that,
제공하려고 항상 노력하고
but
있습니다.
please keep in mind
이
that
모든
CLIO's
것이
products provide the
합쳐져서
highest
이런 결과를
quality at all
이뤄냈습니다.
times
저희
based on
클리오는 올
innovation.
상반기에
And now this is the outcome of our work. CLIO enjoyed the best sales performance in the first half of this year. And as you can see from this article, now the brand awareness went up tremendously for CLIO. And for me, this article is yet another creative content that we created. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
네, 여러분
Yes,
대한민국
thank you
대표
very
메이크업
much
브랜드
for the
클리오
presentation. We
마케팅
heard
본부의
CLIO's
이지원
cases.
이사님 발표였습니다.
Thank you
다시
very
한번
much,
박수
Miss Iji-won, for the
부탁드립니다.
presentation. Please give her a big hand.
네, 고맙습니다.
Yes, thank you very much.
통통 튀는 마케팅해주는
You
효과가
talked
얼마나
about
큰지 알 수
the
있는
effectiveness
발표였던 것
of
같습니다.
marketing
개인적으로
activities,
오늘 메이크업을 할 때도
and
클리오 페리페라의 립스틱을 사용을
I
했는데요.
used Peripera lipstick today, so I was quite drawn
여기
to
계신
your
분들도
presentation, and I'm sure that many of you will be able to test CLIO's product at least once in your lifetime, even more so. And it was a great opportunity to learn more about the brand. Thank you.
만나볼 차례입니다.
Now we're down to our last presentation.
앱 하면 어떤 게 있을까요?
So, what is the number one beauty app in Korea?
알고 계시죠?
You probably know the answer
바로
already. That's
화해인데요.
Hwahae.
화해의 최영은 해외
And Miss
팀장님이
Chae
준비를
Young-eun,
하고
who is a
계십니다.
team leader at
글로벌
Hwahae
브랜드
Overseas
K-브랜드,
Business, will be our
오프라인
next
진출 전략에
presenter.
이어서
We've dealt with global brand, K brand, and entry into offline channels, and now let's move into marketing strategies for entering the Chinese cosmetics market in 2022. Please welcome Miss Chae with a big round of applause.
안녕하세요. 화해에서 해외 사업팀 팀장.
Hello, I'm the head of the overseas business team at Hwahae. My name is Chae
화해가
Young-eun.
해외 사업을 시작했다는 것
So,
자체를 좀
you might be
생소하게
slightly unfamiliar with the fact that Hwahae has started its overseas business. So I'm very pleased to be able to introduce our business in an official setting for the first time. So we're currently helping SME brands enter the Chinese market. For that, we have the Hwahae Tmall Global Flagship Store concept shop, and we also conduct marketing activities, especially for the Chinese market. Now, my presentation is about a very hot issue. You probably heard that K-beauty is struggling in China. So how can we enter this difficult market?
그리고 화해가 해외 사업을 직접 운영하면서
Based on my team's own experience,
최신 중국 마케팅
I'd like to talk about the latest marketing strategies in China.
총세 가지 섹션.
So my presentation is divided into three sections. First,
중국 화장품 시장과
let's take a look at the Chinese cosmetics market and how K-beauty is doing. And next, I'll try to help you understand the ecosystem of the Chinese marketing. And lastly, I would like to present you with some of the latest marketing strategies that are worth noting for K-beauty's entry into China.
중국 화장품 시장의
The size of the Chinese cosmetics market reached
에 달했고
about 100 trillion won in
54조를
in
돌파하면서
2020, and it is expected that the market size will surpass 154 trillion won in 2024, ranking first in the world. Even among global export destinations for Korean cosmetics, China tops the list with an overwhelming share for many years. And even during the pandemic, the amount of export for cosmetics has grown steadily thanks to e-commerce export. We call that cross-border e-commerce. However, that growth has been on the decline since this year.
저희 K-뷰티가 중국 시장에서는 어떨까요?
So how's K-beauty doing in the Chinese market? So up until 2018, Korea has been number one cosmetics exporter to China, but since 2019, it has been in third place, falling behind Japan and France. So Some assess that Japanese and French brands, which competed with quality for a long period of time, have gradually replaced K-beauty, especially with issues like fad and fake products. And since 2021,
중국에서 수입 화장품 전반적으로
imported cosmetic products in general have faced a decline in China, and this is largely due to a new consumption trend in the country,
자국 문화와 제품 소비를
which encourages people to consume local brands, local culture, and local products. This trend is called guoqiao.
중국 시장에서 K-뷰티가 빛을
So today,
잃어가고
K-beauty is
있다는
losing its
현상에
grounds
대해서
in the Chinese
중국
market.
현지에서는
And local
K-뷰티가
analysts in
중국
China
고객들의
say that
구매
K-beauty and its marketing strategies have
마케팅
failed to
전략을
respond to changes in the
적절하게
purchasing
조정하지
habits
못했다는
of
평가가
Chinese
있고요.
customers.
제가 많은 브랜드사분들과 체감하기로는
I've collaborated with many brands,
높아지는
and
중국
I'm
마케팅
seeing in
비용이라든지 그리고
increased number of
까다로워지는
cases
중국
where,
절차라든지
because of
환경적인
rising marketing
요인으로
costs and difficult
중국 시장을
export
포기하시는
procedures,
경우들이
brands
점점
give
늘어나고
up
있는 것
on the
같습니다.
Chinese market.
다만 앞서 보여드렸던 것처럼 중국이
But as I showed you earlier, the Chinese cosmetics market is big enough to drive the expansion of K-beauty.
굉장히 높은 가능성을 견인하는 규모이기 때문에
It's big enough
진출의 문턱
to
자체가 높아진 것은
contain
사실이나
many potentials for K-beauty. So yes, it's true that the threshold for entering China has become higher. But if you target the right cross-border e-commerce route that does not require sanitary permission and develop a marketing strategy that fits the brand and the latest trends in China, then the challenge will not be too difficult to handle. So I think it will be easier to see China not as another country, but as an entirely different world. There are limits to using global platforms like Instagram and Facebook, so you need to come up with a strategy to understand the local social media platforms and how to use them in an appropriate way. And personally, I think social media and e-commerce trends are changing much faster in China than any other place in the world. So if I were to give you a brief explanation of the transformation history from 2012 to 2015, Weibo, which is like blog and Twitter, and WeChat, a messenger like Kakao Talk, and also Wanghong KOLs, who had a large number of followers, were the main marketing channels. From 2016 to 18, short-form platforms like TikTok and Chinese Instagram Xiaohongshu became popular, and that's when the concept of key opinion customers or KOC marketing was first introduced. These are Wanghongs who can make a sufficient impact on purchasing activities even without many followers. And in 2019 to 2020, live commerce and live broadcasting thrived. Various social network platforms also opened commerce and live broadcasting functions, and many Chinese celebrities and Wanghongs engaged in live broadcast. From 2021 to today, marketing has entered a period of maturity overall. Now, there are the top 3 live commerce Wanghongs like Li Jiaqi, Wei Ya, and Shirley, which accounted for more than 60% of the market, collapsed. And now we're seeing some compound marketing strategies in which brands are trying to communicate directly with the customers. There has also been a notable change in the customer's purchasing journey. Previously, it was an AISAS model starting from attention to interest, search, action, and share. But today, we're seeing growing influence of platforms that are based on recommendations from Douyin and Xiaohongshu. So the 3 steps of attention, interest, and search are now integrated into a single step called consideration. So in other words, customers in the past felt the demand on their own first, made searches, and then took action. But now, they discover first and then feel the demand and take action. So this is how their journey changed. Now, the most crucial part of marketing in China is how to deal with this consideration stage. The marketing strategy using the stage consideration is called zhongqiao marketing. This literally means to plant grass in Chinese characters.
현재 중국에서 좀 핫한 SNS 플랫폼들이
So
어플을 처음
really
켰을 때
popular
첫 화면이
social media platforms in China show personalized recommendations when people first turn on the app, so the user stays in the application for a long time without realizing it.
그 쫑차오의 플라이 휠을 제가 그려봤을 때는
So the flywheel of Zhongchao is that you first increase customers' brand awareness through word of mouth
KOC 위주의 좀
and expose them to product reviews written by genuine consumers, mainly KOCs, and then create Zhongchao or the consideration stage. And then you make consumers take action and experience the product, and those consumers create another new Zhongchao content, which naturally secures more brand awareness. So it's a virtuous cycle.
다음은 이제 샤오슈 전반에 걸쳐서 유행하고 있는 쫑차오 마케팅의 예시인데요.
So these are some examples of Zhongchao contents that is actually popular in Xiaohongshu. So even ordinary users who do not have many followers can acquire traffic like high views and interactions if the quality of their contents are good enough.
그리고 앞서서
I told you earlier that understanding the local social media platforms in Korea is very important, and being able to use them properly is also important.
KBT가 중국에서 주요적으로
So
활용하실 수 있을
now I'm
만한
going to talk about
플랫폼들에 대한 비교 조사를 공유드렸습니다.
or compare some platforms
결국
that can be
중국
utilized by
초기
K-beauty in the Chinese
진출
market.
단계에서는 현
So
트렌드에
when you first
맞춰서는
enter the
마케팅
Chinese
자체는
market, your marketing
도우인과
should, of course,
샤오슈를
focus on the
이용하시는
current
게
trends.
가장 올바른
I would
것
say that
같고,
Douyin and
커머스는
Xiaohongshu
타오바오에
are the
집중하시는 게
main
좋을 것 같다고
social media platform that you
말씀드리고
should
싶습니다.
use, and for commerce, that would be
도우인과 샤오슈
Taobao.
같은 경우는
Now, Douyin and
SNS
Xiaohongshu
플랫폼에서
started out as social media
현재는
platform
커머스
and later
기능까지
added the
오픈하기는
function of
했지만
commerce.
본래는 SNS
But because it's still
전체적인
dedicated to the role
역할이
of being a social media
이벤트나
platform,
프로모션이나
without
마케팅
promotion
자체를
or
투입하지
marketing
않는
or
경우에는
special
매출이 거의
events,
일어나지
sales are
않는다는
hardly
단점이 있습니다.
generated. So that's a downside of them.
중국 초기 진출에는
So as with all
결국에는
companies,
브랜드사분들은
especially SMEs,
리소스랑 자원
your
자체가
resources
굉장히 한정적이실
and
거고요.
other things would be limited when you first enter China. So you need to adopt a select and concentration strategy when it comes to choosing the platforms. Now for Hwahae, we actually selected certain platforms and we concentrated on their original functions to create high level of accomplishments at a short period of time. In commerce, we're focusing on Tmall Global, and for marketing, we use Xiaohongshu. Really fits what Hwahae is doing, and as a sub-platform, we're using Douyin.
이에 따라서 중국 진출 마케팅 전략을 총 세 가지.
Now, I'd like to talk about 3 marketing strategies when you enter
일단 첫
China.
번째는 저희가
First,
중국 소비자들을
you need to know your
알아야겠죠.
Chinese customers.
그래서 다양한 중국 현지 리서치 기관에
According to
의하면
local
중국 소비자들은
research
현재는 성분과
agencies,
효과를 가장
the biggest
중요하게
concern of
생각한다고
Chinese
합니다.
consumers today is ingredients
실제로
and also the
샤오슈
effects
내
of the cosmetics
인기 검색
product.
키워드를 보면
So if you look at
성분이
Xiaohongshu,
굉장히 주요하게
the
자리
really
잡고
the main
있고요.
keyword related to cosmetics is ingredient,
성분을
and
성분을
a
중요하게
new
생각하는
terminology
소비자를
was
일컫는
recently
지침으로
coined called
생겨났습니다.
ingredient group. These are a group of customers who really put importance on ingredients. And if you look at various platforms, contents related to cosmetics, ingredients are driving the highest level of interaction.
티몰에서 성분 관련한
If you look at
인기 검색
ingredient
키워드를
related
좀 보시면요.
keywords in
중국 소비자는
Tmall,
현재는
you'll
트러블
be able
개선,
to see that
안티에이징,
consumers in China are mainly interested in blemish improvement, anti-aging, and
그리고
moisturization.
중국 시장에서 집중하실 품목을
So whether you're selecting
선정하시거나
specific products for the
아니면
Chinese
제품
market
개발
or
단계에서
have China in
중국을
mind, even from the
이러한
development
성분에 대한 좀
stage,
트렌드도
I recommend
주기적으로
that you
조사하시는 것을
periodically
추천드리고
conduct
싶습니다.
market research on ingredients that are popular in China.
실제로 중국 안에서 중국 로컬 브랜드들이나
When
글로벌
Chinese
브랜드들이
local brands or
상품을
global
소구할 때
brands want to
성분을
appeal
굉장히
to
주요적으로 소구하고 있다는
Chinese
것을
consumers, they focus
확인하실
their
수
marketing
있습니다.
activities on ingredients.
이 다음으로는
Now, the
제가
next
가장
part
중요하게 생각하고 있는
is the most
글로벌
important part of my
마케팅인데요.
presentation. It's about
사실 예전에는
globalization.
중국에서
In the past,
약간 한국에서는 거의
even if
인지도가
a
없어도
Korean
중국의
brand did not
유통사만
have
잘
high brand
만나면
awareness in Korea, as long as you
중국
met the
K-뷰티
right
브랜드가 흥행하던
distributor,
시절들이 있었어요.
your brand flourished
근데
in China.
지금 현재
But
중국에서도 굉장히
today,
체크수거들이 높아지고
we're seeing an
있고
increased number of
중국
those so-called
소비자들이 이제 글로벌
checksumers.
브랜드의 경우에는
So,
현지의 인지도들을
if it's a
굉장히
global
중요하게
brand,
생각하고 있기 때문에
brand awareness
철저하게
in the
한국의
country
인지도를
of
먼저
origin
쌓으시고
is deemed
파급력을
very important
기반으로
among
중국의
Chinese
현지화된
consumers. So now it's
콘텐츠들을
essential for you to build a
보급하시면서
solid
중국
reputation in
시장에서
Korea
성공적인
and take
마케팅을
advantage of that to
진행하시는 것을
establish localized
어떻게
content
보면 이 트랙
marketing
자체가 좀 필수
in order to
조건이
enjoy
되어버릴 것
successful
같습니다.
branding in China. It's essential. This
실제로
part is
화해
inevitable now.
사업에서도
So here
한국에서 넘버원
in
뷰티
Hwahae,
플랫폼이라는 화해의 인지도와 파급력을 통해서
we were
중국
able to
시장에
position ourselves in
마케팅
the
포지셔닝을
Chinese
먼저 확립을
market,
했고요. 그 이후에 이제
taking
중국
advantage of the
현지의
fact that Hwahae has a
현지화된
very high
마케팅
brand
콘텐츠들을
awareness
저희가
in
직접
Korea
제작하고
as being the country's
공부하면서
number one
짧은
beauty
시간 동안
platform.
브랜딩에
And
성공했고
we delivered
현재는
localized
화해
contents
샤오슈 공식 계정이 5만 명
to
이상의
attract
팔로워를 획득할 수
many
있었습니다.
followers in our official account in a very short period of time, as well.
저희 화해가
As a matter of
직접
fact, Hwahae's official account in
제작했었던
Xiaohongshu
콘텐츠들을
attracted more than
살펴보시면
50,000 followers
한국
in a
현지의
short
화해
period of
어플 안에서
time.
일어나는 데이터들을 좀 활발하게 활용하기도
We
했었고요.
used the
중국
Korean
현지에서
local data
또
in Hwahae
유행하는
platform, and we
마케팅
also
콘텐츠들을
incorporated
직접 제작하기도
contents
했었습니다.
related to local trends.
K-뷰티 브랜드가 사실 중국의 이제 글로컬리제이션으로 좀 성공했었던 사례를 소개드리면
So I'll give you some
소리즘이라는
examples of successful globalization strategies by K-beauty
한국에서는
brands.
플랫폼을 좀 활용하시면서
So there's a brand named
국내에서도
Touridden.
인지도를 많이 쌓으셨고
So it raised its awareness in Korea fast by using Hwahae, and it
세럼이 1위를 차지했습니다.
its serum called Dive in Serum ranked first place in Korea Hwahae Beauty Award in 2021, and Touridden used that piece of information as a selling point in China, and when selling on Tmall, Hwahae emblems were used to appeal to customers, and they were able to generate high revenue, and as a result, the Touridden Dive in Serum ranked first place in Tmall Global.
마지막으로는 왕홍 마케팅에 좀 주요하게
Now I'd like to
적용하실 수
talk
있는
about Wanghong
전략인데요.
marketing and related
왕홍
strategies.
마케팅은
왕홍
중국에서는
marketing
단기간에 높은 효과를 보실 수 있는
It's very
중요한 마케팅
effective
툴입니다.
when you want to
다만 그만큼
gain tremendous
현재는
amount of
마케팅
effect in
비용
the shortest
자체도
amount of
굉장히
time in
높아져
China,
있기
but
때문에
that means that
이
the marketing
왕홍을
cost
좀
is very
적절하게
high.
활용하시는 게
So
가장
you have
중요할
to
것
use these
같아요.
Wanghongs in an efficient manner.
이 왕홍들과 효율적으로 협업을 하시기
To
위해서는
effectively collaborate with Wanghongs, you need
마이크로,
to
미들, 탑으로 나뉘어져 있는
first
이 피라미드
understand
구조의 왕홍을
that they are classified as
에도 급이
micro,
있다는 것을 한번
middle,
확인해
and
보시고
top Wanghongs. So you have to keep this pyramid in mind and decide which class of Wanghong you want to use.
왕홍과 협업하심에 있어서 가장 중요하게 적용되는 전략 세 가지는
So there are three main strategies to working with Wanghong. First, you have to know the structure of the Wanghong pyramid, and then depending on the status quo of the brand as well as the time to prepare for the promotions, divide these Wanghongs into different stages and collaborate accordingly. And second, when you're verifying the Wanghongs, don't just look at the number of their followers, but you have to look at the overall interaction and validate their
그리고
efficiency.
세 번째로는 왕홍과의
And
중단기적인 협업
third,
관계를 구축하셔서
create a short to mid-term
왕홍에게는
cooperative
브랜드에 대한
relationship with
로열티를 높이고,
Wanghongs.
그리고
This will
브랜드
raise their
입장에서는
loyalty
콘텐츠
towards the
해당
brand
비용을
while you
효율화하는
can efficiently
그런
manage the
전략들을
cost
확인하실
per
수
content.
있습니다. 화해가 직접 왕홍과 협업했었던 성공
So let me give you
사례들을
some
보여드리면
examples in which
우선 첫
Hwahae
번째로는
collaborated with
프로모션 기간대별로
Wanghongs. So first is a case when we took
협업을
a step-by-step approach
해서
according to the stage
비용
of
자체를 좀
promotion.
효율화했었던 케이스고요.
We were able
두
to
번째로는
efficiently manage the cost
한국의
because of that.
죄송합니다.
And
두 번째로는 그 인터랙션 자체가
second
굉장히
case
높고
was a
팔로워는
collaboration
낮은
with a Wanghong who
왕홍과
didn't have many
협업을
followers
해서
but had an
저 비용으로
overwhelming
높은
interaction statistics.
뷰를 확보할 수 있었던
So we were able to
콘텐츠이고요.
maximize the number of
그리고
views at a low
마지막으로는
cost.
왕홍과
And
장기 계약을
last example is a long-term
왕홍이
contract with
화해에 대한
Wanghong.
로열티를
So this
굉장히
helped
높여서
Wanghong
브랜딩
secure
자체에
loyalty
성공했었던
towards
케이스로 봐주시면 될 것
Hwahae,
같습니다.
and we achieved successful branding.
그래서 앞서 말씀드렸던 중국 마케팅 전략 세 가지.
So if I were to talk about the Chinese marketing and 3 strategies related to it, you need to think about these 3 things. First, understand the Chinese consumers and find the selling point focused on the ingredients. Second, securing brand awareness in Korea is first. And then you will be able to persuade the Chinese consumers based on objective data.
그리고 세 번째로는 왕호의
So globalization strategy is the key. And third, you have to know that there are different classes of 왕홍s. So you have to approach them in an efficient manner in order to generate maximum efficiency at low cost. So our business mission is that we are a platform that grows together with SMEs. And so that's why we expanded our overseas business last year. And today we are providing an integrated solution to help many brands enter the Chinese market. Our overseas team's ultimate goal is for all SME brands to enter overseas market and enjoy success even without having to create an overseas business team of their own, but just by collaborating with Hwahae. So the brands can use the Hwahae app to secure brand awareness in the local market here in Korea. And by collaborating with our overseas business team, they can enjoy an integrated solution that will help them conduct sales and marketing activities in China. So our overseas business team can be contacted through this email address written on the screen. If you give us an email, we will respond to you on a first come first served basis. Thank you very much. That was Ms. Choi Young-eun, team leader of Hwahae Overseas Business. So Hwahae has gone beyond the #1 beauty app in Korea to go global. Now, the Chinese market is the top 2 global beauty market, and I'm sure that many brands want to enter the Chinese market. So this presentation showed you how you can make that dream into a reality. Thank you very much, Ms. Che. We appreciate your presentation. So that concludes the second part of the conference. We will take a short break and resume at 4 p.m. Thank you very much once again to our 4 presenters. Please give them another big round of applause. And that concludes part 2 of the conference. Thank you.
네, 안녕하십니까. 다시
Good
인사드리도록
afternoon. Allow me
하겠습니다.
to
아나운서
introduce myself
강지혜입니다.
once
여러분
again. My
반갑습니다.
name is Kang Ji-hye and I'm an announcer.
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you for the warm
K-뷰티 산업과
applause.
함께
So
성장한
this is a
우리
time
선도
for us
기업들의
to
쌓아온
listen
노하우와
to
인사이트를
leading companies in the K-beauty
K-스타트업과
industry, sharing
방송국과
their
함께
know-hows and
나누는 시간이죠.
insights
뷰티
to
트렌드
beauty
인사이트
startups
이제
and
벌써
hidden
마지막
champions.
3부입니다.
This
여기
conference is
함께
titled
해주신
Beauty
분들이
Trend
대부분인 것
Insight,
같아요.
and we have
굉장히
entered
알찬
into
내용으로
part
꾸며졌는데요.
3.
도움이
So
많이
we
되셨나요?
have heard many
기대가
constructive
되시죠?
presentations. I'm sure that was very
네,
helpful
1부
for
스마트
you,
뷰티 테크,
and I'm
2부
sure you're looking
디지털
forward
마케팅에
to
이어서
part
이제
3 of it.
3부입니다.
In part 1, we
에코,
talked about smart beauty and tech.
ESG
Part 2, digital and
주제로
marketing.
펼쳐질
And now in
텐데요.
part
뷰티
3, we will
브랜드가
talk about
ESG
eco
트렌드에
and ESG
대응하는
beauty
사례를
trends
소개하는
in the
시간입니다.
cosmetics industry.
ESG 하면은
Now,
우리 다 아실
ESG is a
거예요.
really hot
환경과
topic
또 사회,
these
또 시대
days.
구조를 뜻하는
It
말인데요. 윤리적,
stands for
사회적으로 기업을 경영하자는
environment
뜻이죠.
and society
뷰티
and
산업은 여기에
governance.
어떻게
And how
대응해
is
나가야 할까요?
beauty industry
이번 발표를
responding
통해서
to the
아마 그
ESG
해답을
trend?
모색해 보실
You
수
will
있을 겁니다.
find the answers to
ESG
this question
트렌드에
in
대한
the
여러 기업들의 노력과
presentations.
한국 콜마의 사례를
So
소개해
let's
주실
now
분입니다. 한국
invite
콜마
our first
스킨케어
speaker.
연구소의 이현숙 상무님.
We will
박수로
hear
모시면서
from Hyun
최신
Sook,
화장품 트렌드와 개발
Director
동향에 대해서
of
들어보도록
the Skincare R&D Lab at Kolmar Korea, who will talk about the latest cosmetics market and development trends. Please give her a big hand. Good afternoon, everyone. As introduced, my name is Hyun Sook, and I will be the first presenter of part 3 of this session. It's a pleasure to meet you all. I work for the Skincare R&D Lab at Kolmar Korea. ESG is one of the biggest trends, and how is Kolmar Korea responding to the trend would be my presentation topic. So I work for a lab, so I like definitions. So cosmetics products are defined by the act of cosmetics, and this is the definition of cosmetics products. And these are defined as articles intended to be applied to the human body by being rubbed, poured, sprinkled, or sprayed for cleansing, promoting attractiveness, beautifying, or altering the appearance. And you can apply this to your hair or skin. And it also talks about some therapeutic attributes as well. And as I mentioned, it is also designed to promote attractiveness. And I really liked this definition. And it really tells me why I work so hard and then I go to home, and then after refreshing yourself, you feel really freshened up, and after applying cosmetics, you feel good, and it boosts your self-confidence as well. So it not only offers various functions, but also emotional benefits as well, and it helps you lift your moods. So it really provides many benefits. As you can see here, cosmetics development involves the creation of formula, ingredients, package, and fragrance and package. And I would like to talk about this in relation to the topic of ESG. So I will talk about some of the cases in the market, and at the very end, I will also try to gain some insights. Now, this is the market. ESG is not only a local trend, but a global trend that has garnered much attention, and companies are working very hard towards this mission, and all companies agree that ESG is something that we must attain. If you look at the websites of the cosmetics brands, before they talked about the value-added content and about being creative and about being innovative, so they very much focused their message on the technology. But now, if you look at the CEO messages on their respective websites, they talk about ESG and being eco-friendly and caring for the planet and contributing to the society and economy as a result. And so the ESG is at the core of their message. So it's about being responsible for our society and our environment. And that's a message that all CEOs try to convey. And as you can see here, clean beauty is experiencing a double-digit growth every single year. And that's not just a global trend. As I mentioned, we can see that trend in in Korea as well. This is a Google trend analysis result. And this is the result. I told you that, this was a very popular topic. And in Korea, if you travel back about 3 to 4 years, ESG and clean beauty became a very popular topic among the millennials. And you can see that the search is surging. Now, pharmaceuticals as well as derma brands have gained much traction from the millennials. Now, based on their belief and their consciousness, millennials buy products. However, cosmetics market is a highly competitive market, but consumers really want to buy better products. But here, according to a survey, 70.5% of consumers said that they hope their consumption helps someone out there, and 55.4% said, I am willing to buy a product from an ethical company, even if it is more expensive. So as you can see here, the number is quite high. That is the new consumption trend that we can witness recently. So that has become a new trend here, and we need a marketplace to sell those products. As you can see here in online and offline, we are seeing an emergence of the malls that sell eco-conscious and eco-friendly products. And these are made available to the consumers and very accessible and approachable to the consumers, so they can test the products very easily. As for offline markets, the moment you step in the stores, you can feel the fragrance and the entire curation of the mall really feels you like you are in nature. And you can test the product anytime and as you wish. Now the products are becoming more diverse, and as a result, we need more segmented concepts and messages to deliver to the consumers. So now I would like to talk about ingredients, package, and concept. As for ingredients, when I was a working level staff in the labs about 10 years back, of course at the time ingredients was a key component of cosmetics. However, now we had more requests about formula than ingredients. However, now ingredients are given more weight than formula. So where does it derive from? What is the origin and how was it made? What is the process behind this? And they want to be able to convey that this was made in a very conscious manner, and they want to send that message to the consumers. And of course, ingredients go hand in hand with eco-friendly package. So as you can see here, we want some labels that can come off easily, as well as biodegradable containers. And as for concept, water is an essential component here. We have powder wash and powder serums that try to move away from using too much water. And now we have a solid type cosmetics product as well that do not use water at all. And that has emerged as a new trend in terms of concept. Now I analyze the trend. Then how are the consumers receiving this? How are they perceiving this? This is a result of a recent survey. So about 50% said that they actually purchased a clean beauty product once in their lifetime because of the safe ingredients, and they feel like these products will be using safe and good ingredients. However, some were shunning away from using clean beauty products, and we dived into the reason. Because they were afraid of using this because they were not clear on the efficacy of the product, and they were not sure about the concept. So they do understand that these clean beauty products aim to become eco-friendly, but we need to boost awareness and we need to be able to promote the benefits better to the consumers. Now, of course, no matter how good the concept is or the product is, without the technology, we cannot fully make a 100% excellent or quality product. So now I would like to talk about smart farm and upcycling, and this is science-based. And as you can see here, this has emerged to meet the new demand. Smart farming uses ICT to remotely observe the growing environment of crops. And as for upcycling, it is to recycle produce that lose product value. Now, the farmers have much difficulty because the temperature, the humidity, and the nutrients that all produce requires is different. So it is very difficult to control the environment. However, now with the help of IoT technology, farmers can detect, can track and collect the data, they can analyze the data, and they can provide the exact environment that the plants need to grow well. And that is applied to these types of smart farming. And now I would like to briefly talk about some aqua farming plants. So now on top you have the plant, at the bottom you have fish. So as you can see, this creates a virtuous cycle. You use less water, and the excrete from the fish actually becomes a nutrient for the crops and plants that the farmers grow. Now, by using smart farm technology, we can actually apply that to some of the natural protected areas, because we have so many natural protected areas in Korea, and we can use less energy, but at the same time manage the outputs better. And by doing so, we could grow some native seeds of these areas. Now, moving on to upcycling. If you go to the supermarket, you will see very well-shaped fruits and produce, because they are the ones that sell well. So the ugly ones will not sell well. So every year, over 1 billion tons of ugly produce is tossed away, and the methane gas is generated in the process of decomposition, and the result is air pollution. And that sometimes during some of the local events related to local specialties, these produce are actually used briefly but then tossed away. So we could actually recycle those products as well. So let's say that there is a festival for a specific flower. We have many of those festivals to draw more tourists, and that's why they create a larger area to plant those flowers, but then the festivals only last for a few weeks or for a few days, and after the festival is over, they will toss away the flowers. But then what we can do, we can extract the ingredients from the flowers, and we could make some oil products and some other scrubs and some of the products that can come, such as extracts, oil, and scrubs from these ingredients. Now let us talk about some of the ESG trends in the beauty sector. Now ESG management is a rising trend in the cosmetics industry. How to preserve our planet and how can contribute to the society, how to maintain a healthy business practice is something that the businesses are focusing on. And as a result, we do see many success cases and practices. So now on top you see that consumers are refilling their bottles. Now consumers can actually refill their own empty bottles, and now this has been allowed by a recent regulatory change, and I think that this is quite encouraging.
정말 이렇게 따라가는데 규제가
Because
한다라고 하면
if the regulation does not go hand in hand with the trend, then what's the use of pursuing a cause? So being able to refilling your own container is a step toward making a sustainable change. And if you return empty bottles, then the brands will sometimes refill your bottles. And I'm sure that you saw many water bottles without labels. And label-free bottles have become a new trend in the cosmetics industry as well. And some companies aim zero waste, and there are some companies that have declared that they will now produce zero waste bottles. And now we also have plastic that decays, and sometimes containers that are 100% degradable are used by some of the brands. Now I would like to talk about the relationship and the context of social and governance. First, I would like to talk about what we can do for the visually impaired people by using dry labels. If you're visually impaired, then those people have a hard time telling which is shampoo and which is conditioner. So about 2 to 3 years back, some of the cosmetics brands started to use dry labels, and we are seeing an increasing number of Korean companies following suit. So I think that that is the direction that we need to go to. And as you can see here, there are some companies that hire both people with and without disabilities, and they co-create products that are eco-friendly, and those are well received by the consumers. And I also talked about the upcycling. And we see many upcycled products, and some of the companies have MOU with local farmers to co-develop some of their products, and at the same time they can induce workforce, so it's a win-win for all the stakeholders. So what we're doing at Kolmar Korea is to be part of this movement, and we want to seek ESG values to the utmost. So this is the steps that we are taking.
그러면 아무래도 저희가 화장품
And since we are a cosmetics company,
쉬운 키워드로 소비자들과 소통을
we want to communicate better with the consumers and re-articulate the message so that it is more approachable to the consumers. The first is factive, which is a combination of fact and active, and it talks about being transparent and being fair. So these are the ingredients or components that we use, and this is why this is recyclable. This can be recycled. We need to be able to better communicate such a message, and we also need to be able to quantify what we are actually doing. I think that really matters. To be measurable is quite important. And the second keyword is hugging beauty. I talked about being embracing and being inclusive with the community. So I think that we need to be able to hug diversity going forward, and that applies to ingredients and formula and different shades and so on and so forth. So I talked about some of the technologies in terms of materials and some ESG trend and some of the new trends in this market. Now I would like to briefly talk about the strategies going forward. And there were some people that had low expectations for the efficacy of clean beauty products. So we need to target those consumers and be able to identify their needs better to create functional clean beauty products with strong efficacy. And of course, at the same time, we need to be able to identify clean but safe ingredients. And at the same time, we need to be able to follow the global and local regulations because we need to adhere to the changing regulatory environment as well. And at the same time, we have to be aware of greenwashing, which is why we will need to redefine the definition of functional clean beauty products. And we need to be able to create added value for the consumers. Now, this is the slide that I showed at the beginning of my presentation. So when it comes to ESG, I'm sure that you are aligning your strategies for all of these components to ESG. So we need to be doing that going forward as well. And Kolmar Korea is also working very hard to stay responsible and to really care about the ingredients that we use and to develop proprietary technology to develop components or ingredients that show high efficacy, and we will also make sure that it's science-based when we test the formula or ingredients and so on and so forth. And also we with a green certification and reduction of emissions, we're contributing to eco-friendliness, and we also pursue eco-friendliness with eco-friendly package. And last but not least, we're working very hard toward ESG practice with our CSR activities and responsible management. I'm sure that you're all wearing makeup today, and we want you to wear makeup that is safe and reliable. So we will do our best to make that happen for you. Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Lee, for the presentation. Your presentation was quite impressive, but I think that your presentation really taught me what's happening with the products that I'm actually using in my everyday life. So thank you very much for that. Thank you.
이렇게 뷰티 트렌드 인사이트가 시작이 될수록 많은 분들이 함께하고
So many people are joining us for Beauty Trend Insight, especially for Session 3. ESG has become an indispensable element in the beauty industry, and we are now talking about how we can incorporate ESG into our business activities. At this time, Ms. Park Hye-jun, who is from the Design Center at CLIO Cosmetics, will talk about what design and marketing can do for eco-friendliness and how the title of her presentation is ESG Experience and Value Design Delivered Through Design Thinking. Please welcome her with a big hand. Hello, my name is Park Hye-jun. I'm from CLIO Design Center. So today I would like to talk about something that the industry is interested in and what we're all implementing. That is eco-friendliness. Now, eco-friendliness, we all know that's very good, but sometimes it sounds quite serious and very just and value, but we're people, so we also want to pursue pleasure and happiness. So CLIO actually adds to this a seriousness of eco-friendliness, pleasure, and enjoyment. And so I'd like to talk about some related cases here today. Before I go into the cases, let me talk about what CLIO is doing and what Design Center is doing, just very briefly. CLIO was founded in 1993, and we will celebrate our 30th anniversary next year. As you know, yesterday,
고객들에게
today,
즐거움과
and
또
tomorrow.
자신감을 주기
CLIO
위해서
always
노력하고
strives to
또
provide
앞서가는
enjoyment and
도전하는
new
기업입니다.
changes to our
저희는
customers.
앞서 말씀드린 것처럼 저희
As I
회사에
said
미션이
before,
있어요.
we have a
화장품을 통해 새로운
mission,
변화를
and
즐기는
that is
사람에게
we exist
자신감과
to provide
즐거움을
confidence and
제공하기
joy
위해
to those who
존재한다.
enjoy new
이
changes through
미션으로 저희 회사는
cosmetics.
매년
And based on
혁신과
this mission,
또
CLIO
도전을
continues
거듭하고
to
있습니다.
innovate every year and take on new challenges.
클리오 브랜드 죄송합니다. 앞에 한번 넘어갈게요. 클리오 브랜드는 각각의 캐릭터와 굉장히 개성이
CLIO
좀 강해요.
has
그래서
brands
저희
with their
브랜드들은
own strong
앞서
personality
이렇게
and uniqueness.
도시적이고 또 힙함과
So we have
또
brands that
시크함을
deliver
얘기하는 클리오부터
urban
시작해서
chic,
페리페라
CLIO,
또 그 외 브랜드까지
and then we
다양한
also have
브랜드들을
Para
좀
as
소유하고
well
있습니다.
as other
뿐만 아니라
various
클리오는
brands.
각각의 브랜드의 캐릭터와
And
개성이
once
굉장히
again,
강하죠.
CLIO
그래서 이
appeals to
브랜드로
customers through
소비자에게
brands with their
어떻게
own
어필을
personality
하냐면
and
이제
uniqueness.
굉장히 SNS에서
So
활발하게 얘기를 해서
we
언니 같은
communicate
브랜드, 또는 동생 같은
actively
브랜드로
with
되게
consumers on social
커뮤니케이션하고
media,
소통하고
and we're kind of
앞장서고
like
있습니다.
younger sisters or big sister to
뿐만
these
아니라 사실 저기
consumers. We're
CSR이라고
very
넣었는데요.
friendly.
저희 회사 본사가 서울에
And
있습니다.
our
그러다
headquarters
보니까
is
성동구와 함께
situated
벽화
in Seoul,
그리기라던가
so
아니면
we
착한
were
기업 되기
involved
위한
in drawing
보이지 않는
murals
또는
with
보이는 작은
Seongdong-gu,
실천들을
and
실행하고
we've also
있습니다.
done
뿐만
some
아니라
design
얼마 전에는
consulting
사회적 기업들을
to
선정해서
these
디자인
social
컨설팅을 무료로 저희가
enterprises.
하고
So
또
we've
사회적
been
가치를
doing many
환원하는데
of
끊임없이
these
노력을 하고 있습니다.
activities to give back to society what
그렇다면
we
클리오
received.
기업 안에서 디자인 센터는
Now,
어떤
within
일들을
CLIO,
할까
what does
잠깐만
the
얘기를 좀
design
드리고 가고
center do?
싶었어요.
I'd like to elaborate
매
that very
회사가 그렇듯이
briefly.
매년
So just
큰
like other
목표를 세웁니다.
companies,
회사가
every
가야 할
year
비전과
we
목표.
set up a
근데
design
이제
vision and
저희는 그 회사의
philosophy.
목표를 딱 듣고 나서 뭐를
And after
하냐면요. 디자인
about hearing
랭귀지로
about the
디자인
company
센터는
vision and
그
philosophy,
랭귀지와 맞춰서
the
어떤
design
비전을 실천할까에
center
대한
had to
회사와
set up some
목표가
visions of its own that is
동일하게
aligned
온라인되지만
with the company's
디자인만 할
visions
수 있는
and
비전을
goal.
만들고
And
회사와
design
함께
center
목표를
also sets up
동행합니다.
its separate mission statement that will
2018년에는
help the company achieve the goal. And those are in 2018, good to great, 2019, focus on the core, 2020, more than design, and 2020, last
일단
fit design.
2018년 뿐만 아니라 19년에 저가 포커스 온
So,
core 왜
focus on the core
만들었냐면요.
in 2019 was
디자이너들이 이제
made
일을 하다 보면
because while
컨셉을
working,
만들고
our designers
잘
make up,
잡아가고
basic
디자인까지 풀어나가는 과정이
concept,
있어요.
and
근데
we create
저희는
that
이제
concept,
굉장히
we build
스피디한
on that
회사입니다.
concept to
그러다
create some
보니까
design.
코어를
And
중심으로
so,
우리가 하고
based on the
고객한테
core,
무엇을
by
어필하고
focusing on the
싶은지
core,
코어를
we need to
만들고
really think about what we
역으로
want to
브랜딩으로 더
appeal
쌓아가는
to the
이런 일들을
consumers,
한번
and that will
시작해보자라고 한 게
be
포커스
the
온
foundation of
코어였고요.
our branding.
물론 일의 방식이 앞뒤가 바뀌긴 했으나
So this
디자이너들의
might
스피드는
actually
굉장히
switch
빨라졌고
front
생각의
to
전환이 좀
back,
달라지는
but
케이스가
it
됐습니다.
actually helped us come up with
2020년
new
모두 다
ideas for
아시다시피
design in
코로나로 모든
2020.
산업계는 좀 힘들었습니다.
The industry faced a
저희가
challenge due to
디자인이 어떻게
COVID-19.
하면 비즈니스에 조금
And
더
we thought of
기여를
how
할 수
this
있을까
design
고민을
can
했고요.
contribute more
가장 저희
to
조직 내에서
business.
힘든 거는 사실 공간을 하는
And
리테일 쪽이었어요.
retail
오프라인이 다 없어지고 디지털로
actually
전환되고.
faced the most
그래서
challenge
오프라인을 하던
in
모든
CLIO.
친구들이
So
온라인의 업무를
people
조금
who
맡게
were doing
됐는데
offline
제가
work
그때 이런 말을 했죠.
shifted to the online
우리가 오프라인에서 제품을
department.
돋보이게 하는 게 VM의
And
역할이잖아.
the
그렇다면
role of
온라인에서
VMD is to make
돋보이게 하는
sure
것이
that
또다시
the
VM의
products
역할일
are
거야.
become
그럼 우리는
outstanding
그걸
in the
디자인에서
online
소화해보자.
area, and we wanted to
그때 마음을
realize that through
그랬어요.
design.
되게 우울하고
So we
다들
said that
굉장히
that was a time
불편한
when
이
everyone
시대에
was
디자이너들이
depressed,
모든
when everything was
디자인으로
inconvenient.
비즈니스에 기여를
And what
하고
we
또
wanted to
디자이너로서
do was to
고객들한테 기쁨을
realize,
줘보자라는
quote unquote,
코어였습니다.
more than
이렇듯 매년
design,
디자인
so
센터만의
as to make sure that
목표를
design
수립하고 이 미션을 향해
contributes to the
디자인
business
전략을
even more than
수립하였습니다.
it did before. So that was our mission in
2022년
2020.
저희는
And
가치의
in
중심을 더하다라는
2022,
비전을 정했고
our
또
vision
작게는
is
친환경
adding
소재 연구 또
core
크게는
to
소비자와
values.
사회가 같이 할 수
We
있는
want
디자인
to
전략을
come up with
만들었습니다.
And we did come up with design
앞에 너무
strategies
트렌드를 많이
that
얘기해 주시고 그래서
will
이거는 간단히
concentrate on
말씀드릴게요.
studying eco-friendly
소비자
materials
인식은
design
너무나
that can
많이
add
변화가
value
알고
to consumers
계시고
and
젊은
society.
연령,
You know that
미술과
consumer
포장
perception
관리까지
has changed.
굉장히 더
Younger
사회 가치에
consumers
동참하고
are
있는 것
environmentally
같습니다.
conscious. They look at
저는 이제 그런
ingredients and
생각을 했어요.
containers and they
젊은
participate in
친구들이
social
원래는
value
친구들
campaigns and
만나고
so
밖에 나가서
on.
카페도 앉아
Now,
있으면서 나를 표현해야 되는데
these
그러지 못하게
people
하니까
are
이제
those
디지털 내에서
who
나를
go onto
인증하고 나를
coffee
보여주는
shops and talk to
작품이라는
their
것이
friends and
조금 더
express
필요한
themselves.
것도
But because of
있었고
COVID, they
또
weren't able
저희가
to do this. We had to find a
코로나나
way.
바이러스로
You know,
인해서 많이
due to these
우울했잖아요.
viruses like
그래서
COVID and SARS, and
뭔가
everyone was depressed.
지구가
So
아프면 안 된다.
그래야 내가
We
편해.
wanted to
라는
make the earth
인식들이 더 생겼던 것
healthier.
같습니다.
That's the
그래서
perception
이러한
of the younger
인식들은
consumers,
사회적
and
트렌드가
these
되었고,
perceptions
저희는
have
이제
become a
디자인
social
전문가,
trend.
또 가치를
So we
여기에
wanted to
더해서
incorporate that social trend into
아름다움을
design.
갖고 싶은데
And
뭔가 가치 있는 걸 사기
sometimes
위해서 아름다움을
consumers
살짝
gave
포기해야 돼가
up
아니라
beauty
나도
for
모르게 너무 갖고
value.
싶은 걸 샀는데
But we wanted to set up
나도
a
모르게
design strategy to
친환경과 가치를
provide
실현하고 있네
value and
라는
beauty
제품들을
at the
만들 수
same
없을까?
time
라는
to
것에 대한 디자인
customers.
전략을
So that
수립하고
was our design
실행하였습니다.
strategy.
잠깐만 말씀드리면 이제 모두 다 알다시피
So as you
친환경은
know,
모든
eco-friendliness
사회적으로
or
뷰티 업계뿐만 아니라
ESG
산업계에서 필수가
has
되었습니다.
become the
여러
trend in
분야에서
all
다양한 방식으로
industries.
실천과 실행을 하고 있죠.
And industries are
크게는 소재적
practicing this
측면,
in various
레스
ways in terms of
또는 문화적 사회적
ingredients
측면으로
and
표현을 하고
less
있는데요.
and being
뒤에서 이미지를
culturally
보면서
centered.
간단히만
And so I'm
설명드릴게요.
going to talk about
친환경
ingredients or
소재,
materials
이게 우리한테는
in my
과제고
presentation.
숙제입니다.
Now,
그래서 이제 뭐
eco-friendly
앞서
materials
종이
are
튜브라든지
a
PCR
big
소재,
task
뭐 다양한
for us in
소재와
the
뭐
beauty
방식으로
industry.
표현을 하고 제품에 구현을 하고
So,
있어요.
we've done a lot of
이제
research and
뭔가
applications on
이런
papers,
지구 살리기,
PCR, and
플라스틱 대체
so on.
연구,
So,
이런 것들은
saving the
아마
earth,
우리한테 소재 연구로
using
지속적인
less
과제가 되지
plastics.
않을까
Those are
싶습니다.
something that we
뿐만
must
아니라 이제
focus on
레스,
going forward.
모두
And the
아시다시피
concept
사실은
or the trend of less is also all the
환경에 저해되는
rage.
걸 안 쓰는 게 제일
So,
친환경이라고 저는
using
생각합니다.
less is being eco-friendly, I believe. And everyone is aware of that. So people want to use less now for the sake of the earth. Less plastic, less waste. Refill stations. Those are some of the keywords I can mention. So we're trying to make everything less in a diverse range of ways. And now we want to go beyond products to benefit the environment and the community.
저희한테는 좋다. 그리고 그것들이 더
And
ESG 측면으로 나아가는데 더 도움이
those are
된다라고
very
인식이
helpful in
변화됐고
achieving
상생하고
ESG.
기부하면서
We
홍보활동
want
활동으로 실천을 하고
to,
있습니다.
so we've been doing a
앞서
lot of
말씀드린
donation
것처럼 이제
activities
저희는 이제
and
클리오는
various other
성동구와
activities,
지금 굉장히
both
잘
culturally and
맞춰서
socially. So together with
이런 ESG적
성동구,
측면을 많이 하고
we are
있어요.
providing
그래서
a
앞에
lot
잠깐
of
말씀드렸지만 성동구에서 디자인
activities,
회사
for
또는
example,
그
design
여러
consultation to
산업군의
social
회사들의
enterprises and many other
디자인력이 안
ESG
되거나
related
디자인이 없어서
activities.
돈이 없어서 외주를
So,
못 주는
for example,
그런
there could be
회사들을 되게
small
많이
companies who do
선정했고
not
저희가 세계 회사를
have
선정을
enough
했습니다.
capacity
세계 회사를
to
저희 디자인
conduct
센터에서는
eco-friendly
무료
activities,
디자인
and we
컨설팅을
provided
해서
free
상품
design
개발
consulting
완료될 때까지
services
저희
up
팀장뿐만 아니라
until
저희
the
모두가
stage where
아이디네이션을
they
해서
would
상품
complete
개발의
their product
아이덴티티를
design.
올려주는 작업을
So we really
해서
help these
재능 기부를 하고
SMEs
있습니다.
to concretize their design
이렇듯
identity.
많은 고민을 하시는 것들에 맞춰서 저희도 많은 생각과 활동을 하고
So,
있는데
as I said
사실
before,
이제
we've been
친환경은
practicing
다음이
eco-friendliness
뭘까?
in various ways.
대한
But
고민이
what's
되더라고요.
next?
뭐
What
소재는
comes
계속 연구가
after
될 거고,
eco-friendliness or
여러 가지들을 많이 할
ESG?
거 하겠지만
I mean, yes,
우리가
materials are
이런
important,
친환경들을 고객들한테
but
뭐 실생활에 자연스럽게 밀접시키고
how
또
can we
친환경이
connect
점점점
eco-friendliness
확대되는
to the
인식을
general
변화시키는
lifestyle of
이런
the people,
친환경은
and how can we
무엇일까에
change
대한
their
고민을
perception
많이
of
하게 됐습니다.
eco-friendliness in a natural manner?
그래서 저희는
So what we
저희
decided
회사가
to do
가장
is to
잘하는
take what we do
마케팅과
best,
디자인을
marketing and
친환경에
design,
접목하려
and
합니다.
incorporate them into
약점을 강점으로
eco-friendliness
또
or
무거운
ESG.
친환경을
So
또 고객들이
we
즐기면서
wanted
같이 소비를 할
customers
수
to
있도록
enjoy the
친환경에
seriousness
유니크한
of
컨셉을 더하려 합니다.
eco-friendliness by
여러분,
adding
아세요?
uniqueness
넘어설
to
수
this
없으면
concept.
즐기게
There's a
해주라는
saying,
말이
if you can't
있습니다.
avoid it, enjoy it.
친환경
Eco-friendliness
사실상
actually has
도입이
many
어렵습니다.
restrictions
원가가
to
높고요.
practice, the
또
cost is
실질적으로
high,
용기에다가
and
인쇄 하나만 넣어도 친환경이 아니에요.
if you just print
그렇다면
something on the
우리가
package, that's
이제
not
갖고 있는
eco-friendly.
단점과 약점이
So
많단
we have
말이죠.
many
근데
weaknesses.
저는 이런 약점을
The beauty
강점으로
industry has many
소화시켜야 된다고
weaknesses,
생각했고,
but
또
changing these
그렇게
weaknesses into
강점으로
strength
할수
is the
있는
key.
것이 디자인의 힘이라고
And it's the power of
생각합니다.
design that precisely allows us to do so.
그래서 이제 클리오는 저희 회사에는 9개 브랜드가
So
있다고
CLIO,
마케팅
as I said
팀장님이
before,
얘기를 해주셨는데
And as someone
그
else
9개
from
브랜드가
CLIO
어느
said
하나
before,
겹치는 성격이
we
없어요.
have 9
각기
brands,
캐릭터가 다른
and
브랜드를
each brand
가지고
has its
있고,
own
이
unique
브랜드들의
character and
각각 가지고 있는
personality.
캐릭터에
So
친환경이라는
we
컨셉을 한번
combine
넣어보자.
the unique
그래서
character of each
MZ들이
brand with the
열광하고
concept
또
of
좋아하는
eco-friendliness.
페리페라라는
So,
브랜드에는
for
굉장히
example,
유쾌하게
we
즐겁게 친환경을 접목시키고
incorporated
또
eco-friendliness into
트렌드를
characters
얘기하는
of brands like
브랜드는
Peripera.
단순함이 주는
And
프로그램인
also,
Less is Cool이라는
we
컨셉을
introduced the
한번
concept of less is
접목시켜봤습니다.
cool to hip
이렇게
and
함으로써
trendy
고객들은
brands like
가치
CLIO.
경험을 체험할 수 있을
So
거라고
we allowed
믿고요.
customers to experience
가장
value
쉽고
through
또 가장
these
프렌들리한
projects,
친환경을
and we wanted
선사함으로써
eco-friendliness to be
이것들이 제품에
easy and
녹여들고
friendly.
또
So we incorporated that
즐기며
fun
자신감
aspect
있게
into
제품을 사용할
the
수 있게
design
한다면
of these
그것이
brands.
디자인의 어떤 미션과 목표이지 않을까라는
That's the
생각을
mission
했습니다.
and
이런
goal that any
컨셉들은
design ought to have.
자연스럽게 브랜드에 녹아들었고
So
상품에
these
녹아들고
concepts
디자인에
naturally
녹아들었습니다.
incorporated into our brands and
첫 번째
products.
유쾌한 친환경입니다.
Now, we added
MZ
pleasantness
열광하는
or
페리페라 브랜드라고
fun
저는
aspects to
생각합니다.
eco-friendliness. You know,
브랜드의
the
친환경을
so-called
한번 유쾌하게
millennials and
풀어보자는
Gen
의도였고
Zs,
어떻게 하면 더
they
즐겁게
really love this
유쾌하게
concept of being easy
친환경을
and
얘기할 수
witty
있을까?
when it comes to
디자이너들이 매일 아침마다
eco-friendliness.
아이디어를 내기
So our
시작했습니다.
designers came up with
매일매일
new
이건
ideas
어때요?
every
이건
morning. What
어때요?
about this?
서로가
What about
아이디어를
that?
내면서
So by
뷰터비
sharing our
내듯이 쌓아
ideas,
올라왔어요.
you know,
그래서
we
저희는
build them up,
그런
we accumulated
생각을
them,
했어요. 아까
and
레스랑
hence
얘기를
this
했는데
product. Now I talked about the
한번
concept
디지털 굿즈를
less,
처음으로 한번 만들어 볼까?
and
생각을
for the
했고
first time,
화장품
we
사면 요즘
wanted to introduce
파우치를
digital
준다거나
goods,
여러 가지
digital
많이 주잖아요.
merchandises in
근데
the
그것 또한
campaign. So, you know, when
직업이긴
you
하지만
buy
어쩌면
cosmetics
환경에
products,
저해할 수
you
있다면
sometimes
한번
get these
온라인상에
merchandises for
요즘
free,
워치 안
and
갖고 있는
you know,
사람
you
있고
feel good when you
아이패드 하나 안 들고
receive
다니는
them, but
사람
that
없습니다.
actually goes counter
그런
to
것들의
eco-friendliness.
배경을 다운받거나
So, what we
옛날에 뭐
wanted to do is to
다프라고 해서
provide them
다이어리
with digital
꾸미기를
merchandises
오프라인에서
that will allow them
온라인상에서
to
굿노트를
decorate
꾸민다거나
their
이런 것들을
iPad,
우리가
for
실행하게
example, iPad
하면서
screen,
다운로드하게 하면
or
어떨까라는 걸로
decorate
뷰티
their
최초로
digital
디지털
calendar.
굿즈를
So
캠페인으로
these merchandises
만들었습니다.
can be
또한
downloaded once you make a
아까
purchase of a product.
말씀드렸다시피
And
용기에 1도, 2도 인쇄만 들어가면 그게 아무리
as I
PCR
said
소재여도
before,
친환경이
no
되지
matter how
못해요.
eco-friendly
그래서
the
우리가
material of
PCR
a package
소재를
may
쓰면서
be,
그걸
if you
어떻게
print something on the
친환경을
package,
소화할 수
it's not
있을까라는
eco-friendly
생각을
anymore.
했고
So we
우리가
thought
이제
hard
최고
how
시민이라는
we can change this
콜라보랑
around.
콜라보할 때
So
그
when we
모든 거를
collaborated
스티커로
with a certain
만들어서
brand,
이렇게
we
DIY처럼
made
붙이는
everything
플레이를
into
만들었습니다.
stickers so
근데
that
고객들
people
불편할 수
can
있으니
actually put those stickers
SNS상에서는 예쁘게
on
꾸민 것들을
the
계속 보여주면서 이렇게 꾸밀 수 있어,
packages,
이렇게
and
놀 수
we
있어.
uploaded
계속
these
얘기하고
products with the
저희는
stickers attached on them to our
인쇄
social media
대신에
services
용기에
to
DIY로
encourage them
스티커를
to use
나만의
these
맞춤으로
stickers. So
플레이할 수
instead of
있도록
printing
만들었고요.
stuff out
또한 이제
on the
오뚜기하고
containers,
콜라보할
we
때는
provided
오뚜기하고
customers with
콜라보하는
stickers
자체가
to
의미가 있긴
attach
했으나
to
아까
the
말씀드렸듯이
to stick
나를
onto the
인증하고
containers
나를
themselves.
표현하고
And
이것들을 좀 MZ
as I said
세대들한테
before, the
선사할 수
MZ
있게 해본 게
generations
뭘까라고
really
해서 이제
put
포장재
value
옆면에
on
기부증을
how they can
만들었어요.
express their
기부증은
own unique
내가 이 제품을
individuality.
삼으로써
So by
나 되게
collaborating with
친환경에
오뚜기,
기여했다. 나
we
이거
gave
되게
them what we called
기부한
a
거야. 라는
donation
걸로
card.
실제적으로 기부를
So
했고요.
by
저희가 그 판매 금액에 대해서.
putting
그래서 나를
posts of this
표현하고
donation
또
card
인증할 수 있는
on their social
기회를
media
선사하기도
accounts, you know,
했습니다.
these young people were able
페리페라가
to
브랜드에서 이제
prove
비건
that they
제품을
actually
런칭했습니다.
contribute to
동물을
eco-friendliness
사랑하고
and
또
society.
친구같이
And also when
함께하겠다라는
introducing
베스트라는 단어와
vegan
우리
products,
브랜드를 사랑할 고객들은 왠지 애니멀을 굉장히 러빙할 것 같은 느낌이었어요.
you know, we felt
그래서 애니멀
that
러빙이라고
people who are
해석하여
interested in vegan products would naturally love
브랜드
animals.
이야기를 풀어냈습니다.
So we actually added some
저기
fun
위에 보실 거예요.
to
그렇죠?
this
이
concept.
고양이를
So
되게 단순하고 하트하고
we will
심플하게
combine the
하면서
symbol
계속
of a heart
보여줬고
with a cat to
이런
create a
심볼들은
heart cat,
상품과
as you can see on the
SNS에서 다양한
screen.
고객들한테 우리의 유쾌한
And
친환경과
we
더불어
kept
고객들한테 인식을
putting
알리는
related
데
posts
도움이
up on
되도록
social media
해주고
to
있습니다.
encourage our customers to be part of this campaign.
친환경하면
And when it comes to
포장재에서
eco-friendliness,
꽤 오래됐을
you know,
거예요.
packaging,
녹차가루를
yes,
섞는다거나 뭐 어떤
packaging
브랜드들이
is one
굉장히 많이
part,
활보를
but
했는데
ingredients another
메이크업에서
part.
그런 활보를 하는 데는 없었습니다.
And
그래서
you know, before a long time, we've done many
뷰티 최초로 파리
efforts to add natural ingredients like green tea powder into the ingredient for the substance themselves. But for the first time, we've added these new eco-friendly materials like mixed wood powder to our makeup palette for the first time in the industry. And once again, this needs to be fun. So we've added all these icons or emoticons, as you can see on the screen, into the palette container. And once again, we adopted the concept of less is cool to our brands, manifesting urban chic and hip. So we could have shown them through various graphics, but we actually showed that through shapes of our containers.
그 쿨함을
And we
우리는
use single
이런
materials
브랜드에서 이야기할 수
to
있는
convey
쿨함을
that
되게
concept.
다른
Less
방식으로
is
다시
cool.
승화해서 보여주려고 노력을 했고요. 지속 가능 마크도 개발하면서
And we also
브랜드의
developed
인식을 또
a
확보하는 데
symbol
노력을
for
했습니다. 뿐만 아니라
sustainability.
저희 회사 또 이
And
브랜드는 UNGRP라는
This brand actually obtained the highest
UNGRP
UNGRP grade. So we're actually really leading the industry in terms of realizing eco-friendliness. So CLIO will continue to conduct R&D activities related to realizing eco-friendliness. Now, there's also GOODALL, which stands for good for all, and we sought to make the earth better from collaborating with social enterprise brands to improving our ingredients and packaging materials. So GOODALL continues to make efforts to this end. We don't claim that we have already completed our eco-friendliness activities, but we emphasize that our efforts for eco-friendliness is always ongoing. Now finally, our brand Dermatory adopted the concept of kindness for eco. So now we created a poster.
불조심 이러면은 뭐 초등학교 때부터
So you
불조심 이런
know
포스터만
that
얘기하고
older generations like us used to make all kinds of posters in elementary school that would say, watch out for fire, for example. And I really realized that the messages on these posters actually really seep into you and you become conscious of them and aware of them without realizing it. So we decided to create poster design into campaign in a single box. And those will be uploaded on our social media accounts as well as the accounts of our consumers to really deliver the message that are part of this eco-friendly campaign. And these boxes are not thrown away, but they can be upcycled into being used as pencil cases, or when they're spread apart, they could become this game board that they can play games with.
이런 걸로도 디벨롭 시키고 그러더라고요.
So
그래서 저희도 그냥 버려지는 포장재가 아니라 조금 더
instead
2차,
of
3차까지
having
고객들 손에 남아서
these
조금 다른
boxes
거를
becoming
대용할 수 있게
waste
만든다는
right
것이
away,
친환경일 수 있다.
if they can be
생각을
upcycled by our
했습니다.
consumers in various ways, we thought that was true eco-friendliness.
또는 제대로
And
버리고
for those who
싶어도
want to
제대로
recycle but don't know how to
우리
do
뷰티
it properly,
소비자들을 위해서
we actually
분리 배출 가이드를 좀 만들었습니다.
created a guideline
물
on
같은 경우는 TV
recycling.
광고도 하잖아요. 뭐
So you know that there's a
섭인다,
TV
뭐 한다,
ad on saving water,
나벨
right?
얘기처럼 캠페인을
And
하듯이
how to
화장품은
throw out
사실은 여러 가지
these
소재들이 좀
PET
부각되어
bottles
있는
that
데들이
contain
많아요.
water.
어떻게 분리하고
So and
어떻게
these
빼서
TV
어떻게 해야
advertisements
내가 착한
actually
행보를
show
같이
you
동참하는
how
거지.
you can recycle
이것들을
these
조금 저희가 나서서
PET bottles in the
설명을
right
해주고
way,
싶었고요.
and we want to
그런
incorporate that
것들을
idea
캠페인으로
into
알리는
our
작업을 했습니다. 네.
containers and
저는 오늘
product
무슨 얘기를 하고
boxes.
싶었냐면
So that was
저는
part of our
소재와
campaign.
또는
So
연구를
I
하는
hope
원물을
you
개발하는
found this
사람은
presentation
아닙니다.
interesting. Now,
하지만 저희 회사는
I
마케팅과
don't engage in
디자인에서
R&D
유쾌한
activities on
친환경,
ingredients.
쿨한
I'm a design
친절한
person,
친환경,
and
이러한
we want to,
컨셉들을
through
브랜드의
design,
맥락과 같게 만들어서
introduce fun
소비자에게
eco, cool eco,
즐거움과
kind
자신감을
eco to the
선사하도록
customers to
만들려고
provide
했고, 저는 이것이
the context of
마케팅과 디자인의
pleasure,
힘이라고
enjoyment
생각합니다.
to
저희
consumers.
클리오는 여기서
So
멈추지
CLIO
않고
will not
있습니다.
stop
앞으로도
here.
지속적으로
Going forward, we will
디자인과 마케팅
continuously
끊임없이 고민하고 노력해서
make
소비자들 손에 가치와
efforts in
즐거움을
terms of design and
제공하는데
marketing
끊임없이
so as to
고민하고
provide value and joy
노력하도록
to our
하겠습니다.
customers.
지금까지 강의를 강요하는
Thank you so
듣고
much for
주셔서
listening to
감사합니다.
my presentation.
네, 여러분 클리오의
Thank you. That was
박혜준
Ms. Park Hae-jun from CLIO's
사회적
Design
가치와
Center.
심리적 가치를
Social
고객에게
value and
경험의
psychological
가치로
value
제공한다는
is
말씀
delivered
잘 들었습니다.
through
유쾌한
customer
환경,
experience
친환경이라는 단어도 참
in
인상적이었는데요.
CLIO. So
그동안
that was a
가치
very
있는 걸
wonderful
위해서는
presentation.
아름다움을 조금은
And
포기해야 됐었잖아요.
sometimes we
그런데
had to
이제는
give up
가치 있는
beauty
걸
in order
충분히
to
하면서도
realize
아름다움까지
value,
충족할
but
수 있는
now
그런
we
브랜드
can
마케팅을
enjoy beauty and
실천하고
value
있는 것
at the
아닌가라는
same
생각이
time thanks
들었습니다.
to CLIO's
이제
design and marketing
3부의
efforts.
마지막이자 뷰티 트렌드
Now we will
인사이트의
invite
마지막
the last
발표자를
presenter
소개를
of
해야 할
part
시간이
3
왔습니다.
of
한국
the
콜마
Beauty
패키지
Insight
스튜디오의
session. I would like to
김형상
invite
네.
Hyun of
엄청나네요.
Kolmar Korea,
자, 김영상 상무님께서는 화장품 포장재
who
친환경
will talk
트렌드라는
about
주제로
sustainable
화장품 업계와
packaging
포장재
trends
생산
for
회사가
cosmetics
어떤
brands.
노력을 하고 있는지
And
발표를
he will talk about
해주시겠습니다.
what Kolmar
그러면
Korea is
박수로
doing
발표 청해 듣도록 하겠습니다.
to that end. Please give him a big hand.
네, 안녕하십니까.
Good afternoon. As introduced, my name is Kim Hyung-sang from Kolmar, Korea. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
저는 오늘 이 자리에
Today,
앞에서 두 연사분께서
I
얘기했듯이
just heard from the previous two speakers, and I think I will just echo what they two said.
클리오에서 이렇게 많은 노력을
And
하고
Ms. Park talked about what CLIO was doing, and I was quite impressed of their work and what we are doing, the tasks that we are completing, and the efforts that we are taking will be what I will present today during my presentation. So this is the table of contents. I will talk about the eco-friendly trends of the local and global packaging, and I will talk about the guideline that Kolmar Korea is pursuing. I will also talk about sustainable packaging certifications and sustainable packaging trends. Well, by looking at this slide, I'm sure that you feel a sense of responsibility because of climate change and erratic weather and so on and so forth. We do feel a very weight on our shoulders. And well, compared to the industrial level, the temperature only rose by 2%. However, we do see many climate catastrophes, and we are seeing many challenges. So as a result, the government has unveiled a number of policies and initiatives, which includes recycling plastic and reducing plastic by 2050, and increasing recycling by 2025, and also switching to recyclable bioplastics by 2050. So the Korean government is pushing a transition to a plastic-free society and discouraging the use of single-use containers or cups. But it feels like we are behind by 20 years. So the government is really rushing to achieve net zero, and that has led to many confusions over the policies. Well, when it comes to the laws on waste, and well, actually, we're not fully aligned, especially the exporters and the companies do not know which regulations to follow. And of course, we also need to be sure about how to recycle and how to dispose each product and empty containers. But that's not always an easy task. So the act on cosmetics should be made more accessible and approachable for the consumers. And we have many people from this industry today present, but I know that the containers of cosmetics goods are not easy to recycle, and it's not easy to discard, and so on and so forth. And 63% of a survey respondent said that the cosmetics bottles and containers were not easy to remove labels or to recycle. So now Unilever, P&G, L'Oreal, and Murray Pacific have set goals to achieve by 2030, and they are very much aligned to the government's policies. And Europe is taking the lead, and Korea is now following Europe's steps. We do export the most to Europe, so we are now following what the European countries are doing. We are now a B2B company. We have about 700 member companies. So we have set our own set of guidelines and regulations to help out the members. We follow a 3R policy. So first and foremost, reduce, And number 2, replace and increase the use of recycled resin or PCR resin materials. And number 3, the third pillar is recycle and promote the use of mono material. So it will be difficult to replace all the products that are already in the market to become eco-friendly. So what we want to do is to learn from various use cases for the consumers to find out and learn more about how they can act. Now I will briefly talk about the 3R. First, reduce.
저희가 이제 페이퍼 튜브라고 개발을
We have developed a new material called paper tube. I'm sure that you have received a leaflet,
저희 화장품 포기 내용물을 통해서
and
이렇게 포장
it's a tube made
굉장히 한계가
of paper.
저희가 화장품 포장재 중에서 제일 많이 사용하는 포장재는
And
튜브류이기 때문에
while tubes are the most commonly used type of containers in the cosmetics sector, so we wanted to reduce waste here. So the development phase took about 3 years, and we came up with a paper tube. And we also created a paper shadow
플라스틱
product.
여러분들 많이
And I'm sure that you are well familiar with cushion product, and this uses about 6 to 7 pieces, but we reduced that to 3 to 4. And many customers also want containers that they can refill, so we are working on that end as well. And be it eye creams or pads or and so on and so forth, we also use refillable bottles. And next, replace. So we want to replace to post-consumer recycled, so PCR materials. And for now, PCR is used 30%, 50%, and more, depending on the type of the product. But for now, what we are doing, I'm sure that you are familiar with recycled paper, but there are many people who want to use products that can be recycled as paper. So what we do is we are using recycled paper to our products up to 30%. And monomaterials are usually used in egg containers, but now we have applied this material to paper tray and pulp tray and so on. Now we have many people from the cosmetics industry here, but some are not from this industry. So allow me to go over the definition of the packages. We have primary and secondary packages. And the primary packaging would be the containers and bottles that contain the cosmetics, and the secondary packaging would be the packages that actually contain the primary containers. And what we're working on are refillable containers and monomaterials, as well as water separation labels. And this is a concept that is not new to us, but it may be new to you. So I will walk you through what water separation labels are. And I will also talk about some of the primary caps and pumps that are that can be recycled, and also talk about some forest fiber packaging, and talk about some set box as well. Now, I briefly told you about the paper tube that we developed, and when we planned to develop this, we actually produce about 40 million tubes a year. And by reducing 1 gram per tube would contribute significantly to reducing waste. But at first, we were not sure whether this would be durable enough, whether it could contain the cosmetics well enough. and contain moisture without getting soggy. But then after development, this actually received many awards. One from the Ministry of the Industry, and also it received many design awards on the global stage. So that really motivated us to further develop this idea. And we are developing more paper tubes in our company, which will be released about next year. Now, the second development, this was designed to reduce plastic. While the previous cushion products used about 6 to 7 plastic pieces, but we reduced that number to 4 pieces while making sure that the cushion foundation container is still very solid for people to use. So by adding technology and by working hard, we can make this possible. And of course, there are some things that consumers feel it right away in an intuitive manner, but even if they do not feel the change, we should make the difference to go eco-friendly. Now, we also use some makeup products that use paper, and these are quite intuitive for customers to feel and use. Next, we also came up with some refill containers. We have many companies that are now developing refill containers as well. So this is a rising trend. Now I would like to briefly talk about PCR, which stands for post-consumer recycled. Many different materials are used for containers, and we wanted to boost the recyclability of the containers. If you look at the right bottom image, the one on the left is 100% virgin material. The one on the right is 100% PCR container, and you can tell the difference between the two, and there is a slight gap in quality. However, the PCR container is also getting better in terms of quality, so we expect this to be used more widely going forward. And I talked about the recycling and separating and discarding law, and that actually makes it very difficult for people to recycle and discard waste. That is why we want to come up with a monomaterial so that the product is composed of a single material. Now, this is an eco-friendly all-plastic dispensing pump, and this is used, and it also is metal-free. Next, I would like to briefly talk about water separation label. So the labels melt at 80 degrees Celsius, so you can easily detach the label, and you can peel off the label quite easily, which is a great advantage. Now this is a shrink sleeve with perforated tear line, which makes it easy for people to tear the labels. Now next is FSC paper. And FSC certified paper is paper that has been harvested in a responsible manner, and having an FSC label can send a message that the company is working very hard to be eco-friendly. Now this is FSC certified paper with 30% PIW, so recycled paper is used up to 30%. And this was a first here in Korea, and Kolmar Korea made that happen. Now we are replacing the plastic trays into paper and making sturdy structures by folding the paper
약간 품질이 안 좋고 냄새가 나.
to serve as containers.
요거는 따로 별도의 공정을 두고
Now, this is a pulp molding dies, which is usually used for egg trays. And we can actually use this for secondary and tertiary packaging. So this is quite beneficial. Now there are many certifications in the market, including ISCC, ROHS, and Vegan, and FSC, and SOE Inc. And consumers can easily check the marks on the labels. So I ask you to please take a look at the boxes or containers before purchasing your products. Now, I would like to briefly talk about what the Korea Environment Corporation is doing in terms of materials and structure evaluation system for packaging materials. And it is a system designed to encourage the producer's improvement of packaging materials. Now I will skip through the next slide. I will give you some of the examples that we have produced so far. Now, Tusong Paper has come up with a paper that mixes some dust to make it easy for consumers to recycle the product. Now, the next one is HDC case, which is a cellulose film packaging, which provides many environmental benefits as the product is sourced from bio-based renewable resources. And it does have some flavor in it, but we're working to remove that as well. Now this is body wash from Plus, and it's a water soluble packaging. And this type of packaging can dissolve in hot water. Now next, let us move to the next case. This is an example of shampoo bars from Donggubat and Dew Mighty. And this is soap bottle, as well as solid type soaps. And companies like Amori Pacific and Aromatica are working to become more eco-friendly, and to that end, they have opened refill and zero stations. Now, before, even inside a piece of plastic, we needed to include different types of pieces of materials to make a lipstick. However, now companies are working to develop mono-material containers. Now this is a TerraCycle loop that recycle the delivery containers, and this is a YSL's refill containers. Now this is Yeonu that use paper for their containers. Moving on to the next case. This is a paper bottle concept that Coca-Cola is pursuing. And the next one was Pulpex, that uses pulp material. Next, that was a recycled paperboard packaging, followed by aluminum cans. And Inner Bottle and Hyun are some of the companies that are making containers that are shrinkable. Now these are stick type lipsticks by Axiology, and at the bottom you see some cases of soap and stick balms from Samcraft. And the next one was an example from Refilly that recycles toilet paper. That can recycle the containers as toilet paper.
오늘 여기까지인데
So that would be all for me. And what I wanted to tell you today is this. Of course, every single company is working very hard to become more sustainable and eco-friendly, but some are hesitant. But we should not be hesitant. We need to reduce the parts that we use in the containers. We need to reduce some of the materials that we use and go eco-friendly to change the world and to be able to save the planet. And that is our belief. And I would like to ask you to join us on our journey so that we can save the planet. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Kim, for the presentation.
ESG 노력을 다양한 사례와 함께
You talked about the ESG practices of different companies and talked about what Kolmar Korea is doing. And yes, we do use too much plastic, and the beauty industry is not an exception. And we were able to find out what the cosmetics brands are doing to reduce plastic. And please join Kolmar Korea's journey to reducing plastic.
벌써 마무리할 시작.
Now it's time for us to conclude Beauty Trend Insight. The 2022 Seoul Beauty Week has been prepared to achieve the goal of global beauty industry hub Seoul, for Seoul to actually become a hub of beauty fashion design and industry. And in Beauty Week Insight, we heard leading companies in the industry share their know-hows and insights to help K-beauty business startups and SMEs. So we will see you at the next Seoul Beauty Week in 2023, and we'd like to conclude the event here today. Tomorrow, we will be able to see all of you participate in the meetup that will start at 10 a.m. So please look forward to that. And that concludes the Beauty Trend Insight. We'd like to thank all the companies for sharing your know-hows and insights. Once again, my name is EunGyung. Thank you for attending this conference.